could be 13 years. They don't make the playoffs. Yikes. That is a huge, huge loss for the Sabres. But a big win for the Oilers. It's going to be a slow climb, Oiler fans. There's obviously going to be some losses along the way, no question about it. But the Oilers get a big win last night. Many people were probably like, oh, here we go again. It's 3-1. The second period, the Oilers suck, which they did. Especially the last 12 minutes of the second period was not great, to put it mildly. They, for whatever reason, they just can't get, and they scored first. McDavid scores. You're thinking, okay, here they go. But they just couldn't find their way in the second period. It's been an issue pretty much all season long. Right, the third period's now the last two games they've outscored the opposition 5-0. Prior to that, they were -10 in the third period. Now they're up to -5. So the third period is starting to come back around, but obviously they would like to get better in the second period. So, but you know what? Hey, you got to win games where maybe you're not your best, because we've seen the Oilers. What do they got? 5 games where they've lost with at least 40 shots on goal, not finishing, giving up too many easy goals. Last night, you know what? I don't. Obviously, Bouchard to play in the corner, sure. If you want to argue that Yamamoto hooked a stick, maybe. So that one's not a great. Still a pretty decent deflection, though. I'll give him that. In front. Last night, I didn't see any like grade A terrible ones that ended up in goals. There were some bad plays, but there's always going to be mistakes. Very few teams play perfect hockey, right? I don't think the Oilers are. Consider where the Oilers were at. I'm not expecting to suddenly be, oh, we're going to play perfect hockey, right? That's I'm not expecting that to occur. So we'll kind of see where they go moving forward, but they got some confidence. I think last night's one of those games. It gives you a boatload of confidence, not only in the fact they won. There's a few things at play here. So Stuart Skinner glove save late in that game was key. But also, what about Darnell Nurse? Darnell Nurse literally saves the game. Jared McCann has an empty net. If Nurse doesn't stop that, it's game over. So they had some pretty good defensive plays to help them lead to wins. And that hasn't happened a whole bunch this year. So I think they'll take that as a positive, and they're flying today, so they'll have a little extra time to get out to Tampa Bay, and then they play the Lightning. Will we see Matt Tompkins on Saturday for the Lightning? He'll join us tomorrow, but and we'll find out if he's going to play or not. We'll see. There is if you have that itch right now, you can turn on the NHL, because they are over in Sweden, and it's a hell of a game. I'll say this, between Ottawa and Detroit. Ottawa led 4-0, 3-0 after the first. Then they scored a minute 18 into the second, and it was 4-0. You're thinking blowout. But then Detroit scored 9:39. Then at 13:20. Then at 16:63. And again, it's 17:12. So they scored 4 goals in a span of 7 minutes and 51 seconds, and suddenly it's tied. Both of those teams wanted to be better defensive teams this year, and it really hasn't happened yet. So we'll see. The Red Wings are really all over them as far as shots go. They outshot them. It's now 32 to 19 in favor of the Red Wings. But hey, we'll see what happens in the final period. So it's entertaining. Then of course you have tomorrow, Detroit will play Toronto. Minnesota is also over there. So Minnesota and Ottawa will play on Saturday. Minnesota and Toronto will play on Sunday. And then those teams will come back from their time in Sweden. And, you can make an argument that all these teams need some wins. Toronto's obviously best. Toronto and Detroit look good, but I think they still want some victories. Minnesota's trying to find their defensive game. Same with Ottawa. But the Edmonton Oilers, with their victory last night, we'll give you a little bit of an update on the standings. The Oilers are no longer in second last in the Western Conference. They jumped over both Chicago and Nashville last night. So small baby steps, but now they're one back of Minnesota. They're one back of Calgary, and they are 3 points back of Seattle with 2 games in hand. So it's going to be a slow process for sure. St. Louis is currently 6 points ahead of them in the final wildcard spot. So, you probably don't want to look at it every day, but we will, because it's our job. So, way you go. You can always get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. Be wise, winterize. I know the weather's great, but don't wait till it's cold and your vehicle goes, want to get that right engine in there, get the right oil in there, treat your car nice. It'll thank you later. JiffyLubeService.ca, where you can get all your full synthetic Pennzoil oil changes. On the program today, Terry Ryan will join us. He is on set for season 3 of Shoresy. Chad Renko, this is rare, but a really good matchup on Thursday Night Football tonight. The Bengals and the Ravens. So we'll touch on that. We'll have Julian McKenzie, Calgary Flames. Did you see the report that the Calgary they were close to signing a contract extension with Noah Hannafin, but then they got into a slide, and all of a sudden the player's like, oof. Now he's having signing remorse. So he decides not to sign. And now they'll play things out, which means now, I guess if Calgary, by the trade deadline, they're in a playoff position comfortably, then maybe he stays. Maybe he changes his mind. But if you're Craig Conroy and you had a player that you thought was close to signing, but then elects not to, there's no chance you can risk not trading him before the deadline. Even if you're in a battle, I think you have to trade him because otherwise you'll lose him for nothing in the summertime. And I don't think they're in a position to want to do that. And it's going to be tough because look at Vancouver, look at Vegas, look at LA. You could argue those are the 3 top spots. So the Flames, they feel they're going to battle Edmonton, Minnesota, St. Louis, Arizona, Anaheim for wildcard spots. Maybe they're comfortable there, but that's a story to follow. So Julian McKenzie will join us. Spec will be by. Gareth Wheeler, we'll talk a little footy. Big game coming up for some Canadian soccer fans. So we'll touch on that. Also, the Grey Cup. Did you see the report? We talked about this, Connor Halley, back in September. What did I say? What is a realistic option for the Elks? And I felt like private ownership is something that should be discussed. And now, you see the report that came out? They're looking at it. I'm not surprised. Now, who is going to purchase it? Will Daryl Cates want to? I don't know. When I checked, I'd heard there wasn't a massive amount of interest, but they also had never really thought it was a realistic option, right? So I think that's something to consider, right? Would that solve all the woes of the team? No, because when you look at it right now for the green and gold, Chris Jones has 2 more years left on his deal. I know the CFL would waive the the coaching cap issues for them and not have a count. They'd give him kind of like a one-time get out of free jail card. But the problem is, you still, as an organization, you still have to pay him. He's getting paid a significant amount. So would Chris Jones be willing to take a pay cut in his final 2 years to give up one of his roles? I'm guessing probably not. So they might just be stuck with him to do all 3 jobs again next year, which is less than ideal. Okay, let's just call a spade a spade. It's less than ideal. There's just not enough hours in the day to be a GM, a head coach, and a defensive coordinator successfully. I don't question Jones's work ethic or willingness to want to do it. That's beside the point. And so I'm not sure he can do it effectively. So we'll touch on that. It's a big storyline. Of course, the player awards will be handed out tonight in the CFL. The MOP, it's a pretty good race to see who's going to win. Probably didn't do great. Did you see Kenny Lawler's reaction, Cons, when he's asked about free agency? He's like, yeah, don't sign in Edmonton. So he didn't have a great experience here. That's one guy's opinion, but you never want to hear that if you're the Elks organization by any stretch of the imagination, do you?
No, certainly not. I mean, and he got paid quite a lot of money in free agency. You think that might be enough to hush you up, but it's clear it was a tough situation for the Elks the last couple of years on and off the field. Things weren't going very well, but certainly you would hope for maybe just a little bit more, I don't know, just being a little more discreet with that type of thing. Not a good look, but I'm sure they can throw some money at other players and make them find a way. You got Trey Ford now. You got a better defense. You got a good run game. Maybe that'll be enough to overcome it.
Will we see a running back win the MOP? Doesn't happen very often, but Brady Oliveira up against Chad Kelly. Then you have most outstanding player, Matthew Betts, former draft pick of the Elks, who they let walk. Darius Pickett out of Toronto. Oliveira, of course, is up for most outstanding Canadian. He's winning that for sure. Most outstanding lineman, Hardrick for Winnipeg, Allen in Toronto. Sean White and Javon Leake are the special teams guys. Most outstanding rookie, Edmonton, Kai Gray, up against Quantez Stiggers. I think Gray's got a decent shot here. I'll be curious to see what the vote is on that. And Coach of the Year, Ryan Dinwiddie, Mike O'Shea. Pretty good battle. Based on the regular season, I think Dinwiddie might win. That would be my guess. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Lots of texts flying in at 10 at Sports 1440 833 401 1440. Hey, guys, I'm surprised Speck is coming back after calling me heel. Didn't sound like that too much from Brent. Brendan, what are you talking about? He loved it. Speck and I joke around, my man. Sense of humor is allowed on the show. Hey, Speck, and Speck, you know what? There's nothing wrong with playing the heel at times. If players, when you're on a losing team and nobody gets upset with you about writing or what you're talking about, then you're probably not doing your job properly. Trust me, people aren't going to like everything you write. If they do, it's rare. I can't think of one writer out there who's like, oh, yeah, I really love that article. Oh, I love that article. Right? When you're a columnist, you're going to write things that are going to irk people. When you're a talk show host, there's going to be things you say some days that people disagree with. That's fine. You can disagree with it respectfully. Right? I always laugh at people. Oh, I don't agree with your opinion, so you're an idiot, but I'm super smart. No. And remember, don't confuse opinion with facts. There's two different things. Two very different things. Hey, Gregor, all I have to say is 2 more games, and it's 2.5 months. They can do it, Sean. Sean, I appreciate the thought, but as I said, Connor Halley puts that in there, and at first I was like, this is awesome. For those who don't know, obviously I have to grow out my hair because I'm an idiot. I lost a bet. And so, but I have thought of something, Cons. As it grows out, we're going to be calling it from now on the Ring of Confidence. Because essentially that's what it's going to be. I'm going to need a lot of confidence to roll around with it on. It's, the Leahy, Costanza, Strutty loves the Friar Tuck. That's fair. But I think for right now it's going to be like, the Ring of Confidence. And I'm not saying I'm counting the days, but 3 months is officially 13 weeks. So I'm down to 12. Just saying. Not saying I'm counting the days, Con, but I'm counting the days. So we'll see. As far as, like I said before, like the 5-game winning streak to get it reduced to 3 months was a nice offer, but also one that is fraught with a lot more frustration for yours truly. Because think about it. The Oilers win on Tampa. Then you know what? Of course I'm going to think about it. And now I'll be like on Sunday, oh, geez, maybe it'll only be 3 months. Jeez, I can do 3 months. A lot easier than 6. And then they lose in Florida. And you're like, well, now I got my hopes up for nothing. So screw you, Connor, for giving me hope, because that's essentially what it is. It's hope that's masked in frustration.
Yeah, hope can be a dangerous thing, can't it? Gives you that optimism.
Yeah.
And there's hope at the end of the tunnel, but
hey, ask Oilers fans. Remember when Oilers Nation created the hope, and they had photos out and everything, and it had what was it? Hall, Omark, Magnus by RV, and Eberle, and it spelled hope. Oh God. And remember, there was a lot of fans like, yeah, it's gonna happen. It didn't happen. So hope can be good. It can also be bad. Hey, fellas, I think Woodcroft will be coaching the Senators before Christmas. Well, there's a chance. Hey, I'll tell you right now, the Sens lose this game again today, especially the fact that they were up 4-0. Yeah. DJ Smith, I think, is on thin ice. No question about it. No question. Hey, guys, am I the only one loving Draisaitl bullying Delmar off that face-off with led to him getting the puck back and assisting on Kane's goal? So good. Also, what do you think of the starting lineup for 3-on-3 from HVAC Nick? Hey, Leon Draisaitl's a big, strong man. I know some people got upset about the cross-check on Bo Horvat. Well, Bo Horvat slew-footed him earlier in the shift. I have no problem with the guy standing up for himself, even if it's a little dirty. I'll take it. An eye for an eye. some might say that's a little archaic, and you're fine to say it. Every now and then, I'm okay with it. Ideally, you'd like to do it when you don't get penalty, but still, sometimes you got to live with it. The penalty didn't hurt them at the end of the day. Getting in Belmar's face, yeah, you should be bullying him. As for the 3-on-3 lineup, it made sense to me. If the Oilers win the face-off, Matthias Ekholm goes off the ice, McDavid comes on the ice. Because you're going on the offense, you have the puck. Because it's a simple game of numbers. If you win the face-off cleanly or whoever has first possession, it's not like 5-on-5 where someone's pressuring you all over. 3-on-3, teams don't pressure a ton because you're going to get exposed too easily, right? So think about it. Had you had McDavid on the ice and Edmonton loses that face-off, well, now you have McDavid and Draisaitl for the next minute playing defense. It's 2 forwards, not 2 defensemen, who are naturally more comfortable in the D zone. So even if you get away with it, well, now you've just spent a minute 15, and now they've done nothing. They got to change when you do get the puck back. So I think it's a brilliant decision, and I would do it every time. I would start with 2 defensemen. If I win the face-off, 1 D-man's coming off, we're making a change, and away you go. I think it makes perfect sense. And I wonder if you start 2 D-men, does the other team say, oh, some coaches, look, Seattle didn't have 2 defensemen on the ice to start. Had you got the puck, Connor, well, now you're going up against 2 forwards. I'll take that all day long. Draisaitl and McDavid up against 2 forwards in 3-on-3 rather than 2 defensemen. That's a matchup you want. So I didn't mind it at all.
No, and I think Connor would understand that, right? Who's the better face-off man? Leon Draisaitl. Go out there, win it, be ready to hop on. You could be on in 5 seconds here. I'm sure that was the message relayed to McDavid before. You could be up here in 5 seconds. Be ready. It actually makes a lot of sense.
Hey, guys, is there a picture video of Jason's dome so we can see the progress of this abomination? Well, we are live every day on the show on Oilers Nation YouTube, so you can see it there. Like I said, it's just started. If you see me right now, you won't see much difference because it's the back where it's growing, right? There's not a lot of, there's not a lot of snow on the roof, okay? So it's more so going to be when the sides start to flare out, which I would say probably another 10 days, realistically. That's when you're really going to start to see the Peter Mansbridge or, the Leahy, the Costanza, the side flares where, let's be honest, I think that's where it's going to look terrible. So, right now, you look at it because I'm looking at myself online and I've looked in the mirror. It doesn't look much different, but it does on the sides and it does on the back. And then the sides, as it grows out, then you're going to see, you can see a little bit if you focus on the sides right now, but it doesn't look bad. If I turn sideways as we're speaking, you can definitely see it there. Cons, right? You can see it, but it's not terrible. It will be by December 1st. That's where it's going to look bad. I walked around last night with no hat on. It's not a big deal. It's 6 days, no big deal. But in a few more weeks, boys and girls, that's when the pain's going to start to be felt. No one's hair grows that fast. I don't care if you have a huge head of hair. It's not like it's all of a sudden you're just growing mounds of hair every day. It takes a while. So it's only been a week, right?
And if people do want to see it, I can send the link over via text, but you have to subscribe to the Oilers YouTube. I'll do you a solid, you do us a solid, and give us a like as well.
Ooh. Hey, Greg's got to quit wearing a toque. We can't see anything, Johnny Wishbone. I'm not wearing a toque, Johnny. I'm not wearing a toque today. But I wear a toque a lot, even when I shave my head, because it's chilly out. So, there is no rules on how often I can't wear a toque. You didn't make the bet. You can't suddenly bully. Hey, I'm not Belmar. I'm not getting bullied right now. That's not happening. It's not happening. Connor gave me hope, which I'm not really sure I like, but we'll see. Hey, guys, people don't like to be held accountable anymore. Just they want to pat each other on the back all the time. Maybe some. You could be right about that, Jordan. I do believe, though, that if you're held accountable and you're a person, as long as you're held accountable in a fair manner, I think most people who are strivers who want to improve, they're okay with it. If you're naturally lazy, then yeah, you probably don't want to be held accountable. And I don't think there's many naturally lazy professional athletes. I just don't think you can get to that level by being naturally lazy. Actually, I don't think. I know. Can't do it. Coming up, Bronte will join us. That and more on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
Since 1987, Ram Elevators and Lifts has been raising the bar and more by manufacturing superior elevators for both residential and low-rise commercial buildings. What drives them? A vision of accessibility, because they know that an elevator or lift is more than just a mechanical device. It's the freedom to go where you want. Ram's North American-made elevators, starting as low as $32,900, are rated as the best residential elevators by Forbes magazine. Grounded simplicity, elevated design. Click on trustram.com.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Thinking about solar power? Action Electrical wants to eliminate your entire home or business power bill and keep more cash in your pocket. With effective paybacks in 5 to 9 years, give solar a chance with Action and put your lazy roof to work. Alberta is the second highest province for the amount of full sunlight hours, and with system life exceeding 25 years, solar power is like a McDavid draft pick. Still have questions about solar power? Contact the professionals at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Test.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. Christmas is just around the corner, and we've got everything for the athlete and sports fan on your list, including United gift cards. United Sport and Cycle, your Santa's workshop for over 95 years.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its second season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the U14, 15, 17, and U18 age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast online on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Looking to tackle your backyard projects with power and precision this fall? Look no further than Kubota compact tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for up to 84 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. Plus, as the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
The NFL lives at the Canadian Brew House with killer prizes and $1 tankards of Bud and Bud Light every game day. Enter to win a tailgate barbecue box every Monday night. Thursdays, a chance at the NFL home opener of your choice next season. And a CBH NFL hoodie could be yours on Sundays. Plus, the ultimate sports trip of a lifetime for 2 to the Super Bowl. Up your odds and enter every time you catch the NFL action at the Canadian Brew House.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already.
Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy.
With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Are you winter ready? Don't put off those repairs or maintenance to your trucks or trailers while the cold weather sets in. Call Murray's Truck Parts Locators. Get your trucks in now to make sure you don't end up stranded. From alignments to inspections and engine overhauls, Murray does it all. He can even source parts when you need them and cut down on wait times.
Call Murray's Truck Parts, 780-678-2128.
Murray's Truck Parts Locators, just minutes west of Camrose.
Afternoon, Sports 1440 live, Oilers Nation YouTube. How you doing, Oiler fans? A little bit calmer in Oilers Nation right now. It's amazing what 3 wins will do when your team defense plays a lot better. Your goaltender's better. You get some goal scoring from your top of your lineup. Hey, we'd like I'm sure Oiler fans would like the bottom 6, as the bottom 6 players would like to start contributing a little bit more. Sure, that's obviously still an issue. There's no doubt about it, but you can have one issue and still win some games. It's when you have multiple issues and they all show up in the same game, which was basically the issue for the Oilers. Not a lot of offense, bad defense, average goaltending, and guess what? That equates to a lot of losses. But now suddenly they've got 3 wins in a row. Rather exciting victory last night coming from behind in the final 8 minutes of that game against Seattle and then winning it in overtime. It'll make the plane ride to Tampa Bay much more enjoyable. There's no question about it. And we'll see. Tampa Bay right now, you know what? They would love to get their superstar goalie back. I don't think he's coming back on Saturday just yet, but it's getting closer. So we'll see if the Oilers would love to be like, hey, let's get in out of Tampa Bay without having to see Vasilevsky. But there's still Kucherov. They got Point. They got a lot of good players. So Edmonton's going to have to be sound defensively. No question about it. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton, where they're having their Black Friday deal all until the end of the month. And what does that mean? $7,500. That's right. 7,500. That's your savings on any 2023 Volvo model that they have. Anyone? The S60 car. It's beautiful. Get the XC90 or XC60, depending on, if you're like me and you need a little room for the hockey bags in the back, definitely. Big benefit. So check it out, VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, as Robin Brownlee, a.k.a. Ruben Bronte, joins us. And last night, Rubes, the only people upset in the building were the scribes who had their articles pretty much written, probably about how, and then they suddenly had to scrap it and start from scratch and rewrite an entire article, because that's basically how the game went. It didn't look great for the Oilers. They had a decent start. Then McDavid scores in a terrible final 12 minutes of the second. And then it didn't look like they had much going on the first 10 minutes of the third. And then boom, Kane scores twice, including the final minute, scores again in overtime. And he's the 8th player, I think, in NHL history to tap off the natural hat trick in overtime.
Jason, I remember how you would rail on occasionally when somebody like me in the days I was writing the beat would talk about, all these last minute changes and I had to hit the delete button and I had to write the story 3 times. You know what? If you're not writing on deadline, that kind of game is fantastic for the fans. I mean, and that's what they're paying money to get into the building for. I thought it was unbelievable. When I looked at Kane at the end, when he scored that goal and looked up into the sky, that was like, I thought they were done in that game. You get a great glove save from Stu Skinner late, keeps them in it. They get even and then they win it. Yeah, you know what? That's a lot of fun. And I tell you, when I look at the team now, it's only 3 wins. And when we were saying it's only this many games when they were in the tank, you got to be careful how long you say that, because you can get yourself in trouble in a hurry. It is only 3 wins, but what a difference in the mood of the people going to the games. And, unless these players are completely different than players in the past, what a difference for the guys like you mentioned, getting on that plane and going out for a 4-game road trip. If you suck like hell going out on a 4-game road trip, you're getting on the plane. Nobody's saying too much. Nobody's first to the food on the plane. Everybody's sitting there not having a good time. You win this one, you go out with 3 in the books. Doesn't mean you've done everything you need to do, obviously, but you're going and you're going into against a Tampa Bay team that's very beatable right now. They are not the Tampa Bay team we saw 2 or 3 years ago.
No, definitely not. They're still pretty dangerous, though, without question. And, the Oilers are a dangerous team. They're not as dangerous as they were last year, just because, McDavid's not at the level he was last season. Draisaitl's getting closer, but not there yet. Their power play is still 25%. It's funny. Like, most teams would do cartwheels over a 25% power play. The Oilers one it's missing a little bit. Like Nugent Hopkins right now. Nugent Hopkins wasn't going to score 104 points. It was the most easy prediction of the season. The guy was a 69-point player twice prior to that. But Nugent Hopkins, I'm looking from his power play numbers now to last year to this year. The difference is he was shooting the puck way more last year. His shots are down a half, basically, on shots per 60 by him. So he was at 11, like 50% down, right? He's at like 7.3. So, they probably need him shooting a little bit more. Like that snapshot went in quite a bit last year. McDavid's actually shooting more, just not scoring either. So, we'll see. There's, I still, he doesn't seem 100% right. Like, so, maybe there's a little bit of lacking in confidence. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's not 100% physically. It's probably a bit of both at this point. But Kane and Hyman have done, I think, their part of kind of picking up the slack. They need some other guys for sure to get going, which leads me to my question. I really thought Dylan Holloway was coming around, and that injury sucks for that third line because I really liked the makeup of that third line. And I think Holloway to Ryan, it's very different stylistically and everything else. Connor Brown's going to come back on Saturday. I would slot him right in on the third line, Robin, rather than have him play a game on the fourth line. Or what would you do if you were Chris Knobloch?
No, I'm with you. I can't disagree, Jason. I want to put Connor Brown in a chance to at least generate some offense. He's an opportunistic guy. We know that the puck hasn't gone in for him like he wants it to this point, but he's got a record of being a guy who's hard on the puck, who retrieves pucks, and who can go to the net and get something done when he gets there. Is he going to be 100%? I don't know that he's been 100% at any point because he was out so long and then in for such a short period of time before he was injured again that it's kind of like back to square one for him. But he's a good hockey player. He'll get it figured out. I like him higher up, but I'm with you too on Holloway. I really like the way he was coming on. And when he lost that edge and went into the boards, I thought it was no big deal because he actually propped himself up reasonably quickly and stood up. But to hear he's out that long, that's a tough one for not only the kid, but for the team, because I like the way he was playing when he went out.
No, it is very unfortunate. Like for a guy to get injured like that, like any injury sucks, don't get me wrong. But, like if a guy somebody takes his knee out or something like that, you're kind of like, wow, geez. But when you just lose an edge and go into the boards, it's just like it's terrible luck. We got to tell, hey boys, how come no one's talking about Ernie's elbow off the top rope? Seemed to spark the team. What do you think?
I don't know if it sparked the team. It certainly got the attention of the other bench. But you know what? He got off lucky with 2K on that fine. If you ask me, not going to overreact and get all goofy about it. But I don't like a play like that. Like he took a quick peek and he knew exactly what he was doing. And decided to do it anyway. You know what? I didn't like the play at the time. I still don't like it now. I mean, things worked out for the Oilers, but if you're looking to get people going and looking to get your club going, there's other ways to do it without going to the box. Because the thing you do when you do something like that, Jason, you've seen it. You can stir up a hornet's nest on the other side. I mean, it's right in front of the benches, and you cheap shot one of their guys like that. They got away with it this time, but I wouldn't suggest that as the first means of getting your own team revved up.
Robin Brownlee joins us. Rube, where do you come out? Are you in the side of red? And hope is a dangerous thing, my friend. Hope can drive a man insane. Should Oilers fans have hope that their season's turning around, or is it too early?
You know what? I think it's too early to say it's turning around. Yes. 3 wins is turning around compared to where they were before the 3 wins. Turned around, yet to be determined. If they can go get, I'm looking at this trip. I think they can beat Tampa. I mean, Tampa's 500 club right now, 6-6-4. Florida's the tough one. Carolina is always tough, 9-7-0. Washington 8-4-2. They're pretty good. If they come back 500 or better on the trip, I think that's awful good. This is a reasonably tough road trip. So if they can come back with a couple of wins and not lose momentum, I think that's good. Here's what I like, Jason. They've clawed back to a little bit of respectability now. What? 5-9-1. You look down the line. Connor McDavid is 5th in team scoring. He's a long way off the top. Now, I know the hat tricks have really given Hyman and Kane a bump, so their numbers look really good today. But that's the kind of offense you need to get from guys. And what I like with Hyman is, as he's played here, we've gone, oh, he's pretty good. He's worth that. He's worth the contract he got here, and he has a career year. Then he has another career year. I don't know if he tops what he did last year, but he's off to a good enough start where he's clearly the real deal. Evander Kane, we've talked about it here, Jason. He looks to me, and I've said it before, like he knows now I'm going to be okay. He's throwing guys around. He's in the middle of the muck, and he's scoring goals. And like I say, when he celebrated like he did in that game, that's a pure joy celebration. That's not a celly that he works out on the, in practice with the guys having some fun. And those are cool. But this was like, yes. And that was, those two guys, they can carry a team a little ways with Draisaitl going like he has until Connor gets back. And I don't know if it's a hand or a wrist or a forearm. He seems to be moving close to what he used to move like, but it's the hands and the finish you don't see yet. And I don't know what it is, so I don't want to guess because I'm not there. But if you're 3 wins in a row and got a reasonable chance of a good road trip, and Connor McDavid hasn't really started moving yet, I think you're in pretty good shape considering where they were.
Yeah, no, well, hey, yeah, they only had one way to go, and that was up after the terrible start for them. Now they're on this road trip. This will be a tough road trip. Florida's playing well. Carolina's playing well. Heck, Washington is playing exceptionally well, and Tampa Bay is a really good team. No offense to Seattle, the Islanders in Seattle, but those are bottom offensive teams. Ottawa, obviously, Washington fits in that category, but these other teams can score. So, I'm not ready yet. I said it before, and until I see the Oilers for 2 months show me that they can be a sound defensive team, and if you have one bad game, that's different. I'm just talking repeating it where you're not gifting glaring error goals. And I need to see more than 3 games, but at least they're on the right path.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that one too, Jason. I was writing an item about Stuart Skinner this morning. He's, 943 over the last 3 starts. That does not a turnaround make or a season make for him. But I tell you what, from where he came from when he and Jack Campbell were taking turns being awful and not giving this chance a real chance to win, that's pretty good. And I tell you what, it wasn't like he was fantastic last night, but he was very good again. And you mentioned off the top before I came on, you were talking about, there's a lot of ways to win. You can get away with some stuff for a little while. If your power play goes cold, there's other ways to get it back. If your PK starts to leak chances, you can pick it up somewhere else. If your 5-on-5 scoring isn't great, as long as we're not talking all season, you can find a way to get around that on special teams if they're good. But the one thing you can't win without is at least good goaltending. There is no team in this league. I mean, there's no 84 Oilers where they can score 440 goals, and it doesn't matter if Grant lets in 6; they still win 7-6. If you can't get decent goaltending, and this isn't rocket science, it's Captain Obvious, you can't win. I mean, here and there, yes, someone can pick you up. The Oilers have done that in past years. But if you consistently are looking at a save percentage that starts with an 8 and you're giving up 3 or more goals, you're not going to win enough games to have any chance to make the playoffs.
It's true. Although Seattle, 100-point team, save percentage started with an 8 for their goalies last year. So you're telling me there's a chance, Brownlee. You're telling me there's a chance. Well, we'll see. Have yourself a good Rubes. Who you got in the Grey Cup?
Oh, mercy. I don't know. Tell me, is there a line out there?
8.5.
For gambling types?
Yeah, 8.5 for obviously Winnipeg's a favorite.
Yeah, I gotta take Winnipeg. Every time I see them play, they impress me. I've moved away from the football for a while, to be honest. With the Elks out of it and hockey season started, I haven't been watching as much as I should. But I still like Winnipeg. I'd like to see them win it.
Rubes, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Yep. See you, Jason.
That's Robin Brownlee, a.k.a. Ruben Bronte. Coming up, Terry Ryan is going to join us after 3 o'clock today. Also, Julie McKenzie, Mark Spector, Gareth Wheeler. We're going to talk lots of different sports, of course. But when we return, it's a rarity. But like two really good teams going head-to-head on Thursday. It's a classic divisional rivalry. And when you look at how tight the playoff race, this is a really big game tonight. We'll discuss it next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
Our cars are our lifeline, and every now and then we need to take care of them too. Cochran's Automotive services your vehicle with pride. When you need to fix it up, bring the whole family fleet. Junior's WRX, Mom's MPV, Dad's 1500, or even Grandpa's Olds 88. All makes and models are welcome. Trust Cochran's Automotive to professionally repair your family's pride and joy. They've got you covered for Volkswagen diesel timing belts too. Call 780-452-5001.
Order the juice, get the points. Now at Booster Juice, it's rewarding to be loyal. Introducing the Booster Rewards app, the reward program to give you a boost. Order on the app and enjoy 1 berry point for every $1 you spend. Redeem it for tasty Booster Juice treats, like your favorite smoothie, a Booster Ball, grilled fresh wraps and paninis, and cool Booster Juice merch. And with the Booster Rewards app, the more you order, the more you enjoy. Download the Booster Rewards app today. Order, earn, enjoy.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already.
Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy.
With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes, sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Oh, baby. It's such a good song. I don't care. At any point when that song comes on, it is like that song for decades will be a classic. Any generation you're a young person in sports and Welcome to the Jungle comes on, you're loving it. It is, it's really hard not to, man. It is such a great tune. I love it. I love it. Let's go in the room now, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation, heavy haul transport provider, 100% locally owned and operated, and they got a lot of new platform trailers arrived and ready to work. nextgentransportation.com. In the room tonight, this is a game. This is juicy. You have the Bengals and the Ravens. Great rivalry, but I think it's even more enticing when you look at the standings, right? The Bengals are 5-4, but they're in the basement of the AFC North and in a real battle for the wild card, right? They are tied with the Texans, but I think the Texans and then all the weird tiebreakers are technically actually, no, they're not even in either. Yeah, they are. They're the 7th team. So the Bengals are technically on the outside. Obviously, there's 8 games to go, but this is a big game for them tonight. And to break it all down from Local 12 in Cincinnati, Chris Renkel joins us. And Chris, obviously the Bengals got off to a terrible start. Joe Burrow coming off the offseason surgery and everything. It took them a while to find their legs, shall we say. But they have been better. But I guess we got to start because it seems to be the story of every game in Cincinnati, the injury report. What's up with the receivers? Is Higgins playing tonight? How healthy is he going to be? What's going on injury-wise?
Yeah, it's a good news, bad news. T. Higgins, he's going to be out. That's the bad news of it. He pulled his hamstring late last week, so we don't know when he's going to come back, how severe, but on the short week, it was really going to be an uphill battle for him. But the good news is they're getting their rookie, Charlie Jones, who took a punt back for a touchdown the first time in like a decade earlier in the year. So they get a little depth back, but Jamar Chase is out there. And as he said, he's always open. So as long as Jamar's out there, you can kind of fill in the rest, and Burrow's going to have enough guys to throw to, thankfully.
Yeah, so you look at this matchup, man. The Ravens, they're good, right? Like they're sound good. And obviously Lamar Jackson is a very unique quarterback because he can beat you with, he's a pretty good passer, but then obviously just his scrambling ability from a defensive perspective of the Bengals. And they've seen this. It's not like it's a surprise, right? Like I love this rivalry, but in the past, what's the best way, what's the most successful way they've had of kind of containing Lamar?
I think you hit the nail on the head. You can't stop Lamar. You just contain him. And that's easier said than done because Lamar can beat you in so many ways. Like you said, earlier this year, Lamar played probably the best game I've seen him play against the Bengals. And that's saying something. He didn't go off for astronomical numbers, but his passes were all precise. He beat him through the air, used his legs when he needed to. And I think that's something that we haven't always seen out of Lamar, to be consistent in the passing game like that. I think the key to him, it seems like you saw it with Cleveland last week. They kept him in the pocket and said, okay, we're not going to give you anything easy. If you throw down the field and beat us, fine. And he wasn't able to connect down the field. So I think that's going to be the key of, traditionally you want to go after a quarterback, but I feel like the more you go after Lamar, you're playing right into his hands because as soon as it breaks down, he's got to take off for a 20-yard run. So the Bengals, they got to contain him. They got to force him to be out of what makes him good, which is moving around in the pocket. And thankfully they have Trey Hendrickson, who somehow, I don't know how this happened, but he hyperextended his knee against the Texans on Sunday. Not only is he's not questionable, he's not out, he's not anything. He's playing in this game with no injury limitation. I don't know how that's humanly possible with a hyperextended knee, but he's going to be out there, and he's their best defensive lineman, so that's good for them.
Yeah, it is. No, and it's interesting you mentioned the game earlier already this year, right? Like this is, you lose this game for Cincy. Well, now that guarantees the tiebreaker. Not, if you lose this game, I'm not sure they would catch him anyway. But, the Cleveland Browns defense has been great. It's kind of surprising they're 6-3 considering how often they lose the turnover battle. But, this is you win this game tonight for Cincy, and I still think they have a very realistic chance of winning the division.
I don't want to say it's a must win this early in the season, but it's pretty close to a must win because you lose, you're not out of it, but the way of how good this division has been, you put yourself behind the 8 ball, and they still haven't beaten a divisional opponent this year. It's the 3rd game against a divisional opponent. They haven't beaten anybody in the division. They have one win in the AFC, and that was against Buffalo. So you want to go through the tiebreaker scenarios, and right now the Bengals are not looking good. So they need to start stacking some wins. And I can tell you, after Houston on Sunday, the locker room was a little, I don't want to say shell-shocked because that wasn't the right word, but they were angry. They thought they should have beaten the Texans. They didn't. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to come out because they know what kind of game this is.
Yeah, 100%. As Chris Renkel joins us from Local 12 in Cincinnati, the Bengals and the Ravens on Thursday night football, which should be a great game. With Higgins out, obviously, Jamar Chase is going to get a lot of double teams anyway. But, if you're the Ravens, I would think you kind of focus on him even more. How would you break down Joe Mixon's season for the Bengals so far, and how can they get him involved more?
He's had a pretty good when he gets the ball. He doesn't get it a ton. He gets some tough yards. It's a week-on-week thing. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Just depends how defenses are playing him. Lately, he's been running hard, but just the nature of this offense is, they're not going to run it 30 times in a row. They're not running the wing T or anything like that because when you got Joe Burrow, you're going to throw it as much as possible. He's your best player, and you want to get it to your playmakers. But I think Mixon can really unlock the next level of this offense if they're able to run more efficiently. I think that's the key of when Mixon gets his touches, if he's able to move those chains, get 7-8 yards a pop, 80 yards, 90 yards in a game, I think that can really take a lot of pressure off those receivers who are a little dinged up right now. It'll take some pressure off Burrow, who gets, hit almost every play, and he's running for his life sometimes. So I think that's the key. They got to get Mixon involved, and they can do it. It's just the nature of you got to take what the defense gives you, and if the defense wants to bite down on that running attack, you got to be able to throw it consistently.
How much pressure is there right now in Cincy, do you feel? 5-5 would obviously be a very pedestrian start for them. You mentioned earlier that, must win is hard, but I agree with you. If they want to win a division, it's for sure a must win. But, otherwise, you don't win tonight, you're pretty much guaranteed now you're going to have to go on the road probably twice to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you said it. And again, must win. It's far too early for must wins, but this is a team that had Super Bowl aspirations. This is a team that a lot of people still think can win the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year. They haven't lived up to that, and each loss is starting to put a little more pressure on this team. Now, it's not pressure. They've been in this position the last couple of years, and it's turned out okay. But, yeah, wins need to happen, and you can tell the fan base is a little uneasy right now. But I think they get it done tonight because this is a team that, like I said, Sunday, they were disappointed, and I think they were angry at themselves. I think they're going to come out with a little fire here tonight.
Are you surprised, or maybe not because they're always good, but are you surprised that the Steelers are 6-3?
I don't know how. Do you have the answers? Because I have no earthly idea. You have almost no offense, and you're 6-3. I know their defense is great, and I guess their defense scores all their points because I don't see it out of Kenny Pickett. I have Najee Harris on my fantasy team, and I haven't been able to play him because he hasn't done anything. It baffles the mind of how they're able to win, but that's what good franchises do.
When you in Cincinnati, who's the biggest rival right now for the Bengals? For a Bengals fan, if you said, okay, you get one, who's their biggest rival?
Oh, that's a tough one because they hate the Steelers, they hate the Ravens, they hate the Browns.
Yeah.
So the division all hates each other. That's just kind of how it goes. I think Kansas City is up there. I've seen a real dislike for Kansas City. People, the Bengals might not be doing okay, but at least Kansas City lost too because, they're going to meet towards the end of the year always. So I think right now, if you had to go outside the division, because you're never going to like the division, the guys you play against, but I think Kansas City is up there. Bengals fans don't really like the Chiefs right now.
And what do you make of that added game? I'm pretty sure they add the 17th game. How has that gone over? I never really asked people in the NFL. How is it received by fans and historians? It's been a few years. It's not going anywhere. But how is the 17th game and how they decide who you play in that game? How's that being received?
I think it's going on all right because at the end of the day, it's more football. That's what the fans want, right? More football. Maybe the players don't want to play an extra game, but it seems to be working out because I haven't heard anything bad about it. So I guess we're all happy that we get more football at the end of the day.
And Chris, I'm going to throw you a curveball here, no pun intended, but Joey Votto, arguably to me, the probably the greatest Canadian superstar that no one in Canada talks about as much as he should. Him and
Larry Walker, come on.
Yeah. Well, hey man, he's unreal. But so him and the Reds are parting ways. The Reds said they're making a decision. He's not coming back. He still had pretty good numbers. I expect the team is going to sign him. I assume when his career is over, Is he going up on like the Reds Wall of Honor? Like how is he revered and how is he looked upon in that community?
Zero question. He has been the favorite Red of Reds Nation or Reds country for, I don't know, since he came up. And I think everyone understands why it had to end now because they're so young and they're so good. And Nick Kroll, the GM, said at the end of the day, they don't have the at-bats for Joey. Joey deserves to have an opportunity to play as much as he wants to. He's earned that over his whole career. But right now, they just have young guys that need to play, and Joey deserves a chance to go get that. So he will be up there in the Reds Hall of Fame. Absolutely. He is revered as an all-time great Reds, among there with Barry Larkin, Pete Rose, and the rest of them, because, this franchise has had some dark days and some not so good teams, but Votto showed up every day and the people still love Joey.
Is he mainly a DH now in your eyes?
I don't know what he is. That's a good question. He said that he wants to play first base, but I don't know that he still has the glove for first base to be an everyday kind of first baseman. And he's also shown the last 3-4 years he can't stay healthy. So DH might be the best part for him. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because if you just got to go out there and focus on getting a big hit, maybe that's where he is at in his career, and he could still make some money. He could still play some baseball and maybe fill in at first base a little bit. But it's going to be very interesting where he ends up and what kind of position he takes, because he's a veteran now. He might not be an everyday bat, but he might still offer some. If you need a pinch hitter to get one long, he still got some power behind him.
Awesome stuff, Chris. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the game tonight. Thanks for your time.
You too. Anytime.
That is Chris Renkel joining us from Cincinnati, the Bengals. And man, what about Joey Votto? What an unreal career. And I know there's lots of people saying, is he going to go to Toronto? Right? Would they bring him back? Well, not bring him back home, I guess, as a Canadian to the only Canadian franchise. We'll see. We shall see. That was in the room, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation. Coming up after a Connor Halley Sports 1440 update, Terry Ryan is going to join us. Lots to talk about. TR, of course, he's on set for season 3 filming for Shoresy. Season 2, of course, is on right now. If you're watching it, we'll talk about that. The Edmonton Oilers. Also, man, what a game! Connor's going to update you on what happened. Remember, at one point, the Ottawa Senators were leading 4-0. They're in Sweden today. They the first of 4 days in a row where there'll be games in Sweden. It was Ottawa and Detroit today. Tomorrow it's Detroit and Toronto. Saturday it is Minnesota and Ottawa, and then Sunday it is, Saturday. No, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. It is Toronto and Minnesota. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers forward Adam Murray has been fined just over $2,000, the maximum allowable under the CBA, for elbowing Seattle's Pierre-Edouard Bellemare last night in the Oilers' victory on the ice today. One game going on. As Gregor mentioned, Detroit trailed 4-0 in this game. They're now in overtime, tied at 4 apiece. Later to come tonight on this side of the pond, Golden Knights are in Montreal. Penguins host the Devils. Coyotes taking on the Blue Jackets. Flames host the Canucks. Lightning in Chicago. The Kraken will take on the Islanders. Kings welcome the Panthers to town. The Blues hit to San Jose to take on the Sharks. Week 11 in the NFL will kick off tonight as the Baltimore Ravens hosting division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. That one starting at 6:15. You can watch that one with Brandon Douglas down at the St. Albert South Canadian Brewhouse for your chance to qualify for a trip or two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. On the hard court, just 2 games. Heat take on the Nets at 5:30. Then at 8, the Thunder in the Bay Area taking on the Golden State Warriors. Major League Baseball owners voted today to allow the Oakland Athletics to officially move to Las Vegas. They're the third major sports team to leave Oakland in the last 5 years. In the AJ tonight, you got Drumheller in Camrose and Whitecourt taking on Fort McMurray. Both those games starting at 7. And from the college football level, the Big Ten and Michigan announcing that the two sides have come to a resolution to their pending litigation. The conference will end its investigation into the program, and head coach Jim Harbaugh will accept his 3-game suspension and drop the appeal. He'll now miss the game against Maryland on Saturday and the regular season finale at home against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by former NHLer, star of Shoresy, Terry Ryan. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
If you have mobility issues, a residential elevator can allow you to enjoy your home for longer, but finding the right elevator or lift can be daunting. RAM Elevators and Lifts can get you started with 3 simple questions. What kind of space are you installing the elevator in? How far does it need to travel? And are you interested solely in function, or is the look of your lift important? Make your home more accessible with grounded simplicity, elevated design. Learn more online at trustram.com.
When basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal joined the team at Papa John's, he brought some big ideas, but his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. It comes with 8 foldable Shaq-sized slices, loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide 3 healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
Hi, I'm Colin from Cantork. The call letters and studio have changed, yet Edmonton's passion for sports endures. Cantork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor and is eager to get back in the game on Sports 1440.
Looking to tackle your backyard projects with power and precision this fall? Look no further than Kubota Compact Tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for up to 84 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. Plus, as the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
Get your vehicle ready for winter with Jiffy Lube. Drive-in, drive-out service with 25 extra air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Be wise, winterize. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Are you ready to light up your game like Edmonton lights up the ice? Then choose Ewell. Electrical Wholesalers Edmonton Limited offers lightning fast service. Just like your favorite forward, they deliver your electrical supplies in record time.
Plus winning quality. They only stock the best.
And don't forget about their all-star support. When it comes to customer service, they're the playmakers.
So don't sit in the dark. Make the power play and visit Ewell today. Online at ewel.ca, where excellence in electrical meets the heart of hockey.
Tackle winter weather with the X-Series snowblowers from Cub Cadet. Available in single, 2, and 3-stage models, the X-Series is engineered with powerful engines to quickly break through snow. Select models come with additional features like power steering for ease of handling and heated hand grips for comfort in cold conditions. Be prepared for winter with the Cub Cadet X-Series. Stop into Highline Motorsports, your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer at 4715 39th Ave in Wetaskiwin for expertise in finding the right equipment for your landscaping needs.
This is Brent from Fortis, Alberta, still keeping the power on in our community. My dad actually used to do the same thing, but with a lot less technology. There's been so much change since then, like solar and wind and powering EVs. But one thing has remained the same. Fortis Alberta empowers Albertans by providing safe and reliable electricity. We're the line that connects us all. Learn more about your modern power grid at fortisalberta.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Roger Weirk and his team at Weirk, Pearson, Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management, helping business owners and professionals build, protect, and enjoy their wealth. Earn more now and call Roger and his team at 988-4119.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show.
just after 3 o'clock on a lovely Thursday afternoon. Man, it's going to be unbelievable weather this weekend in the capital region. Talking like plus 10. Crazy stuff. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube, is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website, where all of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta. That is PlayAlberta.ca. And if you haven't tried it, use the promo code SPORTS50 and you'll get your free $50 to try it out. PlayAlberta.ca. It's nice. It's very good. Oilers, of course, in the air as we speak, on their way to Tampa Bay to take. They might have been landing by now. Nonetheless, we go out east. Our regular Thursday co-host, former NHLer, was the 8th overall selection in the 1995 NHL entry draft right here in the City of Champions in Edmonton. And he's also a two-time author and is currently filming season 3 of the hit TV show Shoresy, where he plays Hitch. We are joined by Terry Ryan. TR, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right. It's been busy. Sorry to miss Monday. You know, I wouldn't have if I could have done anything about it, but it was impossible.
Well, geez, you look all clean shaven, and oh man, it's like you got some makeup on there. I know you don't, but wow, you're looking all dapper, all handsome, eh?
Maybe this is part of Hitch's wardrobe. You know, I'm combining two worlds.
You are right now. It's like people are watching Hitch live, and one day actually we should do an episode of you as Hitch. That would actually be, or at least a segment where I interview Hitch. We should do that. That'd be quite fun. I would. We'll do it about the show, about season 2. Maybe that would be. We should do that for a segment. I think I'll do a little homework and we'll do a Hitch interview for a segment on the show.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm starting to get you. Like I said, Jared has a real nifty way. Like it's almost, I don't want to overuse the word genius, but like he adds some depth to our characters. They're only 20-minute, episodes, right? So really you can breeze through one, not even you'd probably go see Oppenheimer. Yeah, it would be a lot longer than one season. So to build up the depth that he does in the characters, because to answer your statement earlier, I'd love to do it. I don't know that I could have done it after season 1. I could have just given you a Newfoundlander, but now I know enough about Hitch that I think I could pull that off for a segment or 2.
Okay, well, we'll get into that. So for people who don't know, I think we'll talk sports in a second, but there's lots of people who watch Shores. Kind of take us through, Monday obviously was super busy. There's many scenes. Kind of take us through what's a normal day on set of Shoresy this week.
Yeah, it's usually when you go in, it depends what time of day, it depends what they need, where you're going to be, whether you're indoors or outdoors at the studio. Generally this week we started at 7 to 9 a.m. anytime. And you're usually, a day is normally 12 hours. If you're in all the, and we've been in almost every scene so far, they're getting those out of the way. There are days we're not in. But like so far, we're getting a lot of that out of the way. We rehearsed for the first week. All stunts, which is on ice stuff for the most part, right? And then on Monday, we got into a lot of the dialogue, setting up everything else, and a lot of when everybody's together in a room. So like I've said before, I've done monologues for movies or TV shows where I've had to speak 2 pages straight, and that you would think, to me, you would think is harder. But to me, I could have less really lines that are peppered through, but if there's 12 people in the scene and it goes on for 10 pages, it's really hard to remember when to come in, and then you've got to remind yourself that you're acting. You're not just remembering. So you got to get it fluent, and then you got to get the character, and then everybody's got to read off each other, and then you get the beats. It's like it takes a while, and then you get the shot from here, then you get close-ups, then you get coverage on each person, then you get turnaround from the other way. So today I just beat it here I'm off for the rest of the day. Most of it's done. I think we got into today at 7. Now it's almost 7 o'clock. They'll be going for another few hours. And our big one today was 7 pages and a bit. And it was like, a lot of the people that are involved kind of all coming together. We shoot it out of order too. So it's one thing to know the script, but we're like, okay, where are we today here, boys? Which one is this? Oh, episode 5. Okay. Then wardrobe will come in and go, hey, you didn't have this. There's continuity to it, right? Mm-hmm. You got to figure out exactly where you've been. There's people in line for that, but still, it's a big process. It's a community process. It really is. Reminds me a lot of playing on a hockey team in that every cog in the wheel is important, and he's got to be gone if you want to have a good day.
How many takes do you find? Like, we've seen a lot of out clips. Somebody says something funny, and then the other guy all of a sudden starts laughing. Are you pretty good at staying in character, or do you find sometimes yourself, you're like, oh my God, you know what? I'm going to bust a gut here or something. How does it work for you?
I can only think of one other time on another show that it really happened, like for real. I mean, it was kind of hard to keep a straight face, but like really I started laughing. That was on Hudson and Rick's once, but on this show, like a lot. And, we're all together. We're all buddies. When they say action, we've just been carving each other for 4 minutes before that anyway, or talking about a story so it's a lot, and it's a lot of meta reality, right? You'll see a lot of these guys that we brought in are actual hockey players, as they were in season 2. So they're telling stories where there's 6 degrees of separation. There's like 1 degree of separation. Like we all say, oh, do you know this guy? Sure, I played with him. So, and then, then it's a story, and we're all Canadian. So it's not just hockey. It's like, we're in Sudbury. There's lots of people from West, Quebec, East. So then it's about geography, and everybody's got something in common. Generally, the other thing is, Jason, we might get a shot and it might feel right, but you usually get an extra one just in case, just to be safe. And then something might happen. Go, oh, you know what? That's actually better, Hitch. When you do it that way, don't do it with such an exclamation. Do it with curiosity, and it's a completely different tone. And they might catch that and go, let's just get one in the bag anyway. It might work. That happens a lot. So there's a setup. Generally, they're planning on 12 hours, give or take. And like I said, there's a lot of nuances to it, right? And you want to get it right. So these days are big when everybody's in a scene. The ones where there's 2 or 3 of us, I mean, the process is easier. I mean, the acting might not be, but the process is.
Okay, that makes sense. Speaking of the process, the Edmonton Oilers, it's going to be a long process before they get back in a playoff position when you start as poorly as they did. But you know what? Hey, you can only worry about the future. They've won 3 in a row. Great. Now they're going on a road trip. I'm guessing that flight to Tampa Bay today is infinitely more enjoyable because of the come from behind victory last night that they had. Darnell Nurse. First of all, Stuart Skinner makes a huge glove save late. Then Darnell Nurse makes a save on the empty net shot by McCann, which would have ended the game. And then Evander Kane ties it and then wins it on a natural hat trick, only the 8th player in NHL history to finish a natural hat trick in overtime. So, lots of things, TR. And, it's funny. Are you a believer that, like, not every win is the same, but like a win like that where they didn't play awful per se. They had a bad 12 minutes in the second period, no question. But they bounce back. They get a win. Now they're on the road. Everybody's like, you're excited. The card games are probably louder. How much or how long can a win like that maybe add juice to a room?
Well, depends when it is. Great question. But like at this time, I would think a lot. It's not just juice, it's relief, right? Because that game right there happened in the first 10. They just didn't get the bounce. Right? I mean, we're talking about, I only watched now, again, I've been busy, but I watched the 3rd period last night. I've been reading up on the team. I've been watching highlights. But I did watch the 3rd, and it seemed to me still a bit high reward. Good to point out Darnell Nurse, because people jump all over him. And I don't know if it is. It's his mannerisms out there. He often looks so, like when he makes a bad play, it's obvious. But he dove for that, man, and that was an empty net. That game would have been over, and they would have lost by 2 goals. And it totally changes. It's a completely different feel. So I like that you pointed that out, and I hope a lot of people did. I watched, and on a regular Tuesday in the middle of November or February or whenever it is, it probably wouldn't mean as much. But given what they've gone through, and look, I could go into this. I will a little bit later on Woodcroft. Man, I just kind of feel bad for the guy. But I don't know Knobloch well, but Knobloch, I played for the Red Deer Rebels in 96, 97. So did he. But he got traded a month before I got there. I was in Montreal waiting for the deadline to get sent down, practicing with the Habs. But I got there, he was traded, I believe, to the Edmonton Ice. But he went on to play at U of A and I believe win multiple championships with my buddies, the Hurleys, Ryan Marsh, who's been on this show, Jeff Lynch, I think. A bunch of people I know played there. And so I've always had a beat on this guy. And I've heard nothing but great things. But it still doesn't mean I don't feel a bit bad for Woodcroft. And if they got those bounces in the first 10 games, if people maybe pulled their weight a little bit more, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But lots of time, that's the way. Hockey's not always fair. I think they got a great guy there, and to start like this is phenomenal, and I think it's sensational for Chris Knobloch himself. That win yesterday was real important for him, I think, coming in, and not only to get a win, but to come back and to do it. And, Kane needed a bit of a boost too. There was a lot of positives that came out of that game that weren't really on the surface.
Terry Ryan joins us. We'll take a quick break because I want to get into Woodcroft and playing guilty and a few other different things like that. And hey, Woodcroft might not be out of work very long, man, if you're watching what's going on in Ottawa here. So we'll get to all that and more. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on the Thursday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
It's simply the best time to buy. The Black Friday event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. You'll save up to a game-changing $7,500 off your purchase or finance as low as 1.49%. Choose from a winning selection of 2023 cars and SUVs like the sleek S60 or the roomy and comfortable XC60s and 90s. Black Friday is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk. Elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Your furnace is broken. Legacy Heating and Cooling will give it a good talking to and make it smarten its act up right now.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If your furnace is disobedient and refuses to heat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you just want some peace of mind this winter.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Plus, Legacy never charges overtime rates. Always call Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Don, buddy, want to come over and watch the game? I'll make a big salad.
I don't know, man.
Steve, come over and watch the game. I've got a massive salad here.
Yeah, my wife needs me to go shopping with her.
Mike, want to watch the game and eat salad with me?
Who is this?
Did I mention I've got a bunch of Will Hawk beef jerky too?
I'll be right over. I'm heading over now. I'm already at your front door.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
Will Hawk is the home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
In Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Mr. Rooter gets Shakespearean.
To plumb or not to plumb? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the clogs and leaks of outrageous toilets, or to take arms against a sea of faulty flapper valves, and by replacing, end them. To flow, perchance to stream. Aye, there's the plum.
For a bard who's 5-star, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
At Toyota, we believe you deserve a truck like the Tundra. It's a truck that's capable, reliable, and ready for adventure, just like you. A truck that's tough on the outside, yet warm and comforting on the inside. What? You know you secretly enjoy a nice warm bubble bath? Don't we all? It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $169 weekly for 64 months at 8.49% APR with $6,999 down. Hybrid also available. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Did you strike out on booking Network Travel's 2023 baseball trip to see the Jays play by the Bay in Seattle? Well, registration is now open for the 2024 trip next season.
Want to fly in for the Sunday, July 7th game and return the same day? Or do you want to fly in Saturday morning and catch both games that weekend with an overnight stay? Either way, it won't be long before Network Travel has a full count for both options. So book today at networktravel.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing.
.323 on Sports 1440. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan with you for TR. Now, do you play fantasy football at all?
Yeah, here and there. I tend to go pro line more than anything and just bet that day, but I do play some fantasy.
Okay, nice. The reason
It's how I got to really know the game, Jason. It was only a few years ago that I was always kind of intrigued. I knew like the best players, but I wouldn't really know much about the game, and I'm still learning. But like the last few years, I got the PS. I play my PlayStation a lot, and so I got the game on there, and I like betting on it. I think more than any other sport, it's almost built for that. So, and I learn a lot about it by doing that. So that's how I kind of keep a beat on the game.
Okay. Now the reason I ask is we have our fantasy league. Our trade deadline is today in about 30 minutes. So and in our league we have lots of different fun rules, and so there's if a person loses too many, if they lose 5 games in a row, then they have to do a shot at the next year's draft, and then if it's 6, they got to do 2 and such and such. So there's a little bit of payment for being terrible, right? And it's kind of a fun thing. Whatever. We obviously do the draft in the off season, combine it with golf, and there's lots of other rules. Like if a guy forgets his trophy after, because we have 2 trophies, one for the whole league and then one for the loser bowl. And if a guy forgets his trophy, then there's a penalty for that. And so in our trades, because we have draft picks in our trades, but then now like you make it so you can include, well, if some guy owes shots, you'd be like, well, you're trading the other guy's going to acquire one of your shots as part of the part of the deal, right? So if let's say you owe 2 shots, well, now you only owe 1. So it adds a fun little wrinkle. So you try to negotiate anything you can into it. And I was just
How long
curious.
have you guys done this?
Oh my goodness. This the league started, I think, a year before I've been in the league since 2005. So
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
It's just perfect, like late 20s, 30s, like something.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. It's the wheelhouse for that. And now you guys are still doing it. It's a bunch of buddies, probably, right?
Yeah, guys, and some of the guys, you don't really see each other up until the draft sometimes, depending on how it goes, especially when guys get kids and life's a little bit different. But like Kevin Carius, our morning show host, is in our draft. And he right now has a chance to become the Detroit Lions of fantasy football and be winless the entire year. It is amazing. So anybody out there, yes, like the 0-16 line. So be sure to mention that to Carius next time he's listening. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, there's been some bad teams in fantasy, but this is a tough one. Like, his team's so bad he could barely trade anyone because he doesn't have anybody worthwhile to trade for. So it's been a tough year for him. And oh man, his shots are piling up because he's lost 11 in a row.
I like that, though. It keeps you engaged. By the way, I'm doing the same thing in my hockey because I got half Oilers in both my pools. But
So
I
you're
do
getting
believe
spanked.
that. Yeah, this is going to come around. I mean, I got McDavid. This is going to come around. I have no qualms that I'm going to come back. But okay, when you asked, so I don't have like I'm not a big gambler, so like big portions of money just gambling with fantasy pools that I don't know anybody. No, I don't do that. The couple that I do with buddies are like spread amongst a few sports, and we do other kind of things. It goes towards, we have like our own little day in the summer. The boys call it Man's Day. It all kind of, it's like accumulating points for a whole year, and then it culminates in June kind of thing. but it's similar. I like doing it that way. We don't really usually bet a lot of money at times, yes, but mostly just for pride.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. Now, give me your thoughts because we haven't talked about it. The Jay Woodcroft firing, how it went down at the time earlier because we weren't on Monday. What was your initial reaction to him and Manson? And then not only the head coach, but also Paul Coffey coming in. He's an advisor to the owner. He's an assistant coach.
Yeah, I can't speak much for Coffey or Manson. I mean, Coffey's a legend. I don't know how much of a coach he is, but I mean, he got to know his stuff. The only thing I guess I would question is like, it's a different game now, like with video and X's and O's and all that than what used to be. But I mean, it's Paul Coffey. And Manson I played with, he was a wild character. I remember he hit me in the corner and he like elbowed me. And I said, geez, how'd you know I was there? And he said, I was looking in the glass. I didn't realize he was using the glass for a mirror. I was like, wow, what a wily vet move that is. Because he knew I was behind him, but I kind of shifted over and he knew exactly. He said, I was looking in the glass at you. Wow. And again, I can't really comment much on that. I don't know what he was doing, but Woodcroft's in the public eye, and a lot was centering around him and his. I guess that D system came back to bite him. But look, I'm just judging on and I had Michel Therrien I really didn't like. Right, I had a couple of coaches that I really didn't like. Him being number one, so I appreciate, and I love Bob Laux. By the way, he's out there somewhere in Western Canada. I can't track him down. My coach in Tri-Cities, right? Probably my favorite, Rick Carey and Red Deer. I can think of guys I really liked, and I appreciated that. So I think a lot of the players, and you could see that when they were asked afterwards, some things transcend hockey. Not every coach does. Some are just X's and O's. You come to the they want all business. He seemed like a friend of sorts, and some he cared about. And I think there was a few things going on that made it a little bit odd. Like at some point they were going to burst, right? I mean, they're still not great defensively. And there's a lot of holes, but at some point, 40, 50 shots, there was a few going to go in. And I don't think when they were 2-9, they were really the worst team in the league, right? And I don't think they're going to get back there. So there was that. And then, of course, they won. They finally broke the streak and were turning. And I get it. They were on a road trip, but it was just a weird optic for a guy that seems like, and his record was like pretty immaculate when it comes to like Edmonton Oiler coaches of late anyway, being, I guess, go back 20 years, so, and it's, everybody had the good thing to say about him. It really, really did feel like he fell on the sword, and it wasn't, he was just one problem in a sea of problems that all seemed that there was going to be light at the end of the tunnel with all of them. So it's a weird, I'm left as a fan with a little bit of an empty feeling. I feel bad for the guy. Now, the other side of it, like Block is from what I understand, a real good guy, wears his heart on his sleeve, really cares. You can see that really early. And I'm sure that Woodcroft and company, but especially him, he's going to get a job real soon. If I'm out there and I need I'm all over this, right? I'm all over it. It was almost an asterisk why he got fired. So I have all the confidence. It's a hard job though, right? You see a coach like Woodcroft enjoy where he is. I've always said it. Like, I didn't even think about going into it. Reason being, at some point I was going to have a kid, which I did. And it was just hard to move around everywhere. Even the best coaches don't seem to be anywhere for 5 years in a row, let alone 3. This guy was like 70-something and 40-something, and he's axed, right, after like 2 years. So I feel for coaches, and especially ones that have a good rapport with the fans and the players.
And I think that's a fair look at it. Obviously it's one where I agree with you. He was the guy who took the bullet for the whole team. No question about it. He's paying for the sins of the team. They didn't perform up to their capabilities. He also, Jeff Jackson wasn't the guy who hired him. And that does change things, Terry. And relationships are a huge part of sports. We've seen it anywhere. Coaches bring in some players they like, managers bring in guys. And that works in any walk of life. You just, you talk to anybody who works somewhere, and all of a sudden, if you get a new boss, well, guess what? So there's changes. Because somebody doesn't like the new boss, or the new boss has a different way of doing things. It happens all the time. So, and in a lot of places, if things are going wrong in the office, they don't just fire Dave, who's like the low-level entry guy. Usually it's somebody higher up in the pecking order that pays the price for it. That's just kind of how it works, right? This is one where everybody sees it and everybody realizes it's probably not fair, right? But That's kind of how it goes. So the one thing, though, the wrinkle that was obviously different was you're bringing in Paul Coffey, who's an advisor to the owner, and now he's an assistant coach of the team. And I understand he doesn't have a boatload of coaching experience. And so, that might be an issue. Marty St. Louis in Montreal is showing that maybe that's not as big of an issue as some people think if you know the game. And to now, a lot of it now is more about, communication and watching, see what you see. It's not like Coffey's going to see systems infinitely different than Dave Manson, right? But he does have some nuances. Evan Bouchard told us that, Manson really wanted them to play a little heavier, whereas Coffey's being like, hey, man, we need you to move the puck quicker. Well, for Evan Bouchard specifically, that makes sense, right? Now, you want Vincent Desharnais to move the puck quicker for sure, but you also want Vincent Desharnais to use his 6'7" frame, 245 pounds, and lean on guys. There's no question. So I am curious to see, like, Bouchard's the one guy who I think can benefit because, and Tara, I want to ask you this. As a teammate, everybody knows the strengths of your teammates. And even at the NHL level, guys have strengths. Some guys have weaknesses where they're not as good as in other things. That's just a fact, right? There's still first and fourth lines in U9 or U11 as far as skill set goes. And then there's first and fourth lines in the NHL. Not everybody's Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. Just they don't want to be. They're just not. But when I look at Evan Bouchard, at what point does the organization say, okay, like, yeah, we want him to be competent defensively, but he's never going to be a shutdown guy. Stop asking him to be a shutdown guy because he's never going to be the shutdown guy, but he can be better than what he's seen. So how do you find that balance? If you were Coffey, how would you try to find a massage it so Evan Bouchard can maintain his best skill set, which is moving the puck and be offensive, but just find a little bit more consistency defensively?
That's a great question. And a lot of the time, someone like Coffey, I mean, not that Manson, I don't know. Manson was there that whole time. You don't really see behind the scenes. Someone like Coffey, though, being a leader, he's, to say a legend would be an understatement, and that's true.
Yeah.
So, who would be good for this? I saw it happen with my own eyes in Montreal. A lot of players might remember Patrice Brisebois. And I remember them commenting, like what I saw Breezer, he wasn't bad defensively. But I remember them commenting, and he really worked on it because he came out of the queue. I believe he won a cup right away in 93. I think he was in on that. And, apparently he was a right, power play, but really iffy, a lot of holes defensively at first, from what I understand. And anyway, he really came into his own and became pretty good defensively. And I know, look, on the team I was on, I know Stefan Quintal had a big part of that. Right? It was in the dressing room. It wasn't just the coach. It was players that he might really respect, within his own dressing room. And it's not always a guy like Quintal, but the fact that Quintal shot the same way, played defense, really meant a lot. I was talking to Joe Dolo today, who plays, Joe Dolo on our show. And I was telling a story about Stan Drulia, who coached me in Orlando my last year. And he said, my only problem with Stan was he was trying to tell me how to play defense, and I never got motivated. I don't care how many games you played in the NHL. You're a right winger. Like and he goes, I always felt I was kind of on my own. Now, I would think Evan Bouchard doesn't have that feeling. He's young. He's impressionable. His game probably matches Coffey's more than Manson's. I can see why Mance wanted that out of him, but sometimes it's just not in you. So you've got to deal with this part the best you possibly can. Now, what is he good at? Puck moving. So do that a little bit quicker, right? A lot of things he does are an 8 or a 9 out of 10. It's that quick. So I get it. I get it. If you're going to be good at something, let's be the best you can at it, and let's touch up the other areas whereas Mance, if I know Dave Manson, he was going like fist first attitude kind of thing, not fist, but figure of speaking. You know what I mean? And maybe Bouchard identifies more with him. And of course, a guy like Ekholm, who's still probably, Ekholm just got here last year. Rome wasn't built in a day. I would think in that room that they help each other out.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. Like I noticed last night, Seattle was dumping, and it's wise. Like this is the simplest thing. We got people that's one. Hey guys, other teams are clearly focusing on Bouchard. They dump it into his corner more than Ekholm. Well, of course, right there. You always try to dump it into the corner of the guy that you want to be more physical on in hopes of wearing him down. Now, the advantage if you dump the puck into Bouchard's corner is if you're the Oilers, you're like, yeah, okay, well, he might have to take a few more hits, but we think he's going to move the puck. And even if all he's doing is moving it to Ekholm, it's a pretty good guy to move it to, or he makes the right play up the boards. And you should trust that's the strength of Evan Bouchard. So you say, Bouch, don't be worried about them dumping the puck in. You get so good at it, eventually they're going to be like, well, geez, let's dump it into Ekholm's corner. He's a little bit old. He's a little bit slower. Maybe we can get on him and he doesn't move the puck as well, right? But it is funny how, and I'm sure when you played, you guys, everybody has it on the bulletin, on the whiteboard. Hey, dump the puck into this guy's corner. You want to try to make him pay, right? Or like if it's me, I would actually dump it in if I was on the ice and there's Brett Kulak or Vincent Desharnais. I'm dumping it into Vincent Desharnais' corner all day long because his puck mobility isn't at the same level as Brett Kulak, right? So it's funny, you kind of change it for different pairings.
Yeah, I remember it's specific. It's great you said that. I remember specifically having that on the wall, and a couple different teams I played, but it'd be like, okay, dump, like we put notes up, dump in, and sometimes it'd be like brackets slow feet or brackets can't move it quick. Right, because there's two different things.
Yes,
I don't mind. Great Oiler, one of my good friends, Sheldon Surrey Jr., big guy, but really couldn't turn that well. So I'm like, yeah, you might take a bit of a beating, but throw it in Surrey's corner. I'll go in first. Now, it might be someone like Wade Belak who played defense in junior. Now he's huge. Same thing. Okay, we got a speed demon. Throw it in the other way. Or guy from Edmonton I played with, my roommate Zenith Komarniski. Zeke was fast, but he had no idea how to get it out of his own zone at first. And we could see people, kind of chomping a bit to dump it in his corner, even though he was pretty solid. He just had he'd just slap it around the boards. F2 would go over on the boards, get it, and they'd start a cycle. And he got a lot better at that, right? So what I'm saying, I guess, the same play, there are nuances to each depending on who you're out there with, right? If it's a fast team, maybe they'll do option A. If it's not, and guys like Coffey know that if they can do anything, they can identify that, right? I think when you mentioned Martin St. Louis, my only thing with him is that he hasn't been removed for the game as long, right? And Coffey, I know, got a car dealership halfway through that stuff. I mean, again, it's Paul Coffey. So his advantage, I think, is identifying exactly what we're talking about. And I don't think he'll ever be too old to coach in that capacity. It's still hockey, and it's Paul Coffey.
It was interesting. Zach Hyman's comment kind of made me laugh. So after their win on Monday, Zach Hyman was like, it was great to get, Chris Knobloch, his first win, get him the puck. That's pretty exciting. He goes, and Coffey too, but he's won a lot, so it was, even they recognize like, hey, this guy, like, it's just different how you look at guys. These guys, won a ton. He's won multiple Stanley Cups. He's Canada Cups, you name it. He's pretty much won it all. And even though I think that's a fair point to bring up the Marty St. Louis, the style of game, he just got removed from it a lot sooner. Right. Still a few years, but much sooner than Paul Coffey has. Although I think like how you see the game, Terry, whether you're 45 or 55, you probably still view things like there's things you can pick up on, but it's more so how the players receive the information, I think, has changed a lot. Like they ask more questions, right? Like when you were coming up in junior, I'm sure you weren't asking questions as more, yes, sir, no, sir, okay, sir, right? Nowadays, the kid, well, why am I doing that? Why do you want me to do that? And which is okay to ask, but now the coach has to be prepared. Well, because I said so. Well, that doesn't work anymore, right? So you got to be able to explain your way.
And no, you're spot on. And as Teddy Hitchcock would say, but look, there's something else. A lot of people have been talking, and I've been talking hockey for days with a bunch of hockey players on set and nowhere to go. But one thing I want to point out, Paul Coffey has a lot of money. He wants to do this. I know a lot of NHL alumni that don't want to do this. And he's not a head coach for the glamour and he's willing to go down and be assistant coach in the NHL with all that legendary status and all that money. He has nothing to gain and everything to lose, and he's willing to do that. I got my hats off to him. This isn't like a power play move by him. This isn't selfish. This isn't like I'm Paul Coffey and I'm going to, he's been behind the scenes forever. He's made good money in hockey and better money away from the game. He's going down on that bench because I truly believe he wants to help those players, and he's got such a connection to the Edmonton Oilers that got him, well, where he is today for the most part. Of all the teams he played on, he's an Oiler first and foremost, and now he gets to give back, and I really, really respect that because he doesn't need to do it. He doesn't need all that stress, I don't think. I don't want to speak for him, but, a lot of guys in his position, they might do the odd panel, But I don't know that they want the everyday responsibility to go in and help those young players, and it truly seems like that's what he wants to do.
Dude, it's a grind. Like coaching, there's way more. Every player I've ever talked to that's become a coach is, man, I wish I was a player again. Like you show up, you do, in all your hard work's training in the off season, maybe you got a 20-minute, 30-minute lift, or maybe you watch video for 50 minutes and you get to hang around nowadays, somebody's making your breakfast or your lunch. It's already there. You walk in the kitchen and, oh, good. I get to choose from 15 different omelets or away I go. You're a coach, man. You were in there grinding for like 12 hours. Right. It's so different. And you got to love it. So I think that's a really good point. We got a lot of texts to get to. 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971. Saving you more.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit BIEENG.com.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President Award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
The Taboo, everything to do with sex show, is coming back to Edmonton this weekend. It's Edmonton's sexiest all-inclusive adult party. If you've never been to the Taboo show, you don't know what you're missing. Introducing Glow Friday and Masquerade Saturday. Taboo has something for everyone. It's all about feeling sexy. Bring your sweetheart, your friends, or come alone. Grab a drink, walk around, and enjoy non-stop stage entertainment, shopping, and seminars. Bad Dragon presents The Taboo Show this weekend at the Expo Center in Edmonton. Visit tabooshow.com.
Portions of this hour.
Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Speedway, some kind of this thing. Well, I ain't no movie star.
347. How are you? Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. You can always get involved. You can text us, email us, 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. And of course, always coming to you live from the E-Well studio, E-W-E-L, always adding a spark to the show. And hey, guess what? You need anything electrical? They got it all. And not just electrical needs. If you're looking to make your projects more successful, they can help you out on that as well. EWEL.ca. Got a lot of text to get to. I want to get this one, TR. Hey, guys, I've really gotten into competitive ball hockey last year and a half. I'm now coaching my kids. I would love to hear Terry's take on the biggest differences between ball and ice hockey and if you have to approach them differently from Joe Daddy.
That's a great question. Rules-wise, I really enjoy the offense that ball hockey provides because it's really, really similar to hockey. Okay, the rules, no open ice hitting. But if you gain the blue line, once you're on sides, then then you can bring it back to the red line. So half of the arena becomes, half of the surface becomes the offensive zone, okay? And so that would be the biggest rule difference. As far as playing, I really find that ball hockey, it's way harder to play defense because you're running, right? And if you let your guy go, it's just way more obvious. It's way harder. You would think, again, hockey with the open ice hitting and, times fighting and, the grueling nature, you're going faster and all those things. But when you're running and the offensive zone is half of the arena, and especially when you play like we go overseas for most of these things, right? It's usually on an Olympic-sized surface, and you've got to run around and take your man. That gets hard to do. Coach, you got to really come up with some good systems, some good players. There's there's a large part that you focus on defense in ball hockey. I find it there's the similarities. What I like to do, can't remember the name of the texter, but what I like to do is focus on the similarities, because when I started, there wasn't a lot of ice hockey players playing ball hockey, at least not on like the national team. And a lot of people were worried about training. And I know that Montreal wouldn't allow me to play. And at the time, it made sense. But since, if you're well protected and you want to go out there, and it's just, there's a lot of similarities. I think it can really make you a much better hockey player if you really try to play ball hockey the right way, right? And we're talking Edmonton. And Edmonton, there's pockets in Canada that it's huge, and Edmonton has all kinds of opportunity. It's got a great minor system. Their team often is in the final or wins the national championship. They've really come a long way, and I would encourage anybody out there. And the other thing is that it's not as expensive. There's a big difference. It's not close to as expensive, and it doesn't take a long time to learn how to run as opposed to learning how to skate. So I think it's way more inclusive, therefore being harder to stand out. A lot of people think, because you played in the NHL, you'd be a great ball hockey player. No, not really. Look at the Chicklets Cup. Like, it's just, it's the ultimate, what's the word? Equalizer, right? That floor when you're running. And for me, it took me at least half a decade to be, considered on the national team, one of the best around, and I really, really, really worked at it harder than I ever worked at being a hockey player. It came much more natural. But when you're, hockey, you don't always realize, you grow up and you're like, well, I got good moves and everything, but there's a but you don't even, I didn't even realize I was fast because I skate kind of clunky. But that was one of the things that were separating me. And I get it was just the you wouldn't think Wade Belak's a great skater, or was. I'd say that because I love the guy and I often bring him up in examples. But if you put him out there with like his own age group, he would be faster for sure and bigger, and he would look out of place almost, because he's an NHLer. But in ball hockey, I found, whoa, I didn't have that advantage at all. Like all of a sudden now I got to actually work and I got to get faster. What? Yeah. I've got to all of a sudden, and a lot of these guys have been honing their skills forever. It's different with a ball than with a puck. It's a totally different dynamic. Having known the game of hockey definitely helps more than a little bit. But really, like even on the national team now, half the players have never skated before. Like really, it's way more inclusive, and I love that about it. And it really helps your defensive game.
Great answer. A few other texts coming in at the 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, I don't know if you touched on it or not, but what do you think of Knobloch's decision in overtime? Do you think it bothered McDavid? No, not at all. I think the decision made perfect sense. For anybody who didn't see it last night, so the order started overtime with Ekholm, Bouchard, and Draisaitl. Knobloch even explained his decision, but as I was watching, I was like, well, this makes sense. If you lose the draw, then you have two defenders on the ice and Draisaitl, and away you go. If you win the faceoff, guess what? You maintain possession. Ekholm goes off the ice. Bouchard jumps over McDavid jumps over the boards. So Connor McDavid, he's not such an egotistical freak that he's like, I got to be on the ice the first shift of overtime. Like, who's a better faceoff guy? Draisaitl or McDavid? Draisaitl. So who gives you a better chance to win the faceoff? Draisaitl. Now, that doesn't mean, because keep in mind, a better faceoff guy is still like 53, 54%. So still means you're losing it 47 or 46% of the time. And if you win it, then you're not wasting. And as we saw in overtime, Seattle had the puck the whole minute. Now, they didn't get many chances, but they had the puck. So now you're out there, you're skating around, you're defending, whatever. It would have been a waste of McDavid being on the ice because he's not playing offense. That's his, no offense, McDavid. He's not, you're not, hey, I want McDavid to play defense. No, in 3-on-3, you wanted to play offense. So I don't think it bothers him at all. I actually like this strategy. And you know what? If I was a coach, I would do it too. We win the face-off. We control the puck because it's 3-on-3, Terry. You don't see guys. It's not like there's a high pressure all over the ice on 3-on-3, right? You win the face-off back to your defenseman. It's almost like the three opponents, now they just kind of float back into their own zone expecting you, like they send up one guy maybe, but it's, you're basically, if you lose the face-off, you've almost lost possession unless the other team screws up a pass within the first minute.
Yeah, totally. Look, you know what? I did watch, and I saw online some people were commenting. All I had to say to those people, look at McDavid's face after they scored. Look at him after they won on the way out. He's absolutely jacked. He's pumped. That's not acting. That answers the question. He's happy to win. Think of the dismal place that they were for a long time. Right, with these guys that just couldn't figure up from down, didn't know what was happening, not getting the bounces. People are playing their worst all at the same time. I mean, it was hell to get a big win. Your buddy gets a natural hat trick, one of like 8 players ever to do it in the fashion that he did. You score, the place has gone bonkers. It's at home. Your old coach gets another win. You're on a streak. Oh, yeah. Connor McDavid is anything but selfish, if I've come to learn anything. And when they came back to camp this year, even though it didn't work, this, captain's early, whatever it was, it still doesn't hide the fact that he's a team guy and he wants to win more than anything. And he was elated on the way off of that ice.
Yeah. 100%. 355, Jason Gregor. Terry Ryan with you. 833-401-1440. Hey, boys, ball hockey doesn't get the respect it deserves, although it's growing quickly in Edmonton through BHE and JHL. Harder cardio-wise and more difficult to defend, as Terry outlined. Also much harder on goalie as the ball curves significantly from Mortgage. Mike, any tips, TR, on how to get more of a curve when you're shooting?
Well, like I talked about, so a good defenseman, those who know the ball hockey world and a little bit of the ice hockey world, my buddy Justin Pender is one of the best around. Big guy, good shot, played for Team Canada, won a nationals with Newfoundland, just an example. So like once we get the blue line, we give it back to him. The ball, there'll be curves for everybody if you take, but it's some more than others, and there's a real knack to it, right? But when Justin shoots it from like just outside the blue line, it's really hard. Like it's usually going to curve one way, but there's levels of it's like it's almost similar to a knuckleball. I find as a batter, I've played goal and ball hockey. I find as a batter, it's even easier to track a curve ball than it is the ball hockey ball. I don't think there's more movement and it's less predictable. And from those areas, if you're in real tight, it doesn't, it's almost just because of the trajectory when you're in tight. But the further you go out, and Pender has a 100-odd mile-an-hour slap shot, so usually everybody's got a different system. Everybody has preferences, just like hockey, and there's so much open space that if you drag people out of position, that backdoor play is there in ball hockey as well. I prefer just give it to that point guy, gun it all day. We still got one. I'll go in front of the net. If we just keep going, it's probably going to go in at some point. We got 2 minutes of this. We just got to keep getting possession, give it back, give a good guy 5 to 10 shots from there. And that's why ball hockey power plays are often 50-55%, right? If you got a good one. But it is hard to track that ball for sure.
Oh, God, I would think so. Yeah. Quick break. Let's get to the comment coming up in hour number 4. We got Ryan's rant, help your neighbor, 5 questions. We'll also go to Calgary. Noah Hannafin. Sounds like they were close on a deal, and then the Flames spun their tires to start the season. And all of a sudden, no deal. What does that mean for the Calgary Flames? How many of these guys are going to get dealt? And will this be a massive sell-off come February, or does it happen sooner? Or if obviously the Flames are in the playoffs, do they? But even if they are in a playoff spot, can they risk not trading some of them and then losing them all for nothing? Tough spot. We'll get to that in hour number 3 as well. But first, Conman Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire, and the Road Ready sales event is on right now. Select tires to $225 off. You'll get a bonus $50 off when you book any service right now through until December 16th. Go online at fountaintire.com. Some restrictions apply.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers forward Adam Ernie has been fined just over $2,000, the maximum allowable under the CBA for elbowing Seattle's Pierre Edward Bellemare in the last night's victory on the ice today. One final, the NHL Global Series from Stockholm. So the Sens knocking off the Red Wings 5-4 in overtime. Later today, the Golden Knights are in Montreal. Penguins host the Devils. Coyotes travel to Columbus. The Blackhawks will host the Lightning. The Flames taking on the Canucks. Islanders in Seattle. Kings host the Panthers, and the Blues taking on the Sharks. Tomorrow at noon from Sweden is the Red Wings taking on the Maple Leafs. Week 11 in the NFL will kick off tonight as the Ravens take on the Bengals. That one starting at 6:15. You can watch that one with Brandon Douglas of the Kevin Carius Show at the South St. Albert location for your chance to qualify for a trip for 2 to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. In the NBA tonight, it's a light one, just 2 games on the schedule. The Heat will take on the Nets, and it's the Thunder in the Bay Area taking on the Golden State Warriors. Tip off at 8 o'clock in that one. In the AJ2 games, Camrose hosting Drumheller and Fort Mac in the White Court. Both those games will get going at 7 o'clock. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by the Athletics' Julian McKenzie to discuss the Calgary Flames. We'll hear Ryan's rant, help your neighbor, and ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise at Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. Christmas is just around the corner, and we've got everything for the athlete and sports fan on your list, including United gift cards. United Sport and Cycle, your Santa's workshop for over 95 years.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
At Wolf GMC Buick, all Denali's are on sale. Terrain, Acadia, Sierra, Yukon, all Denali's are on sale. Get special 0% financing for 48 months on all remaining Sierra Denali half tons because all Denali's are on sale. I'm not kidding. Every in-stock 2023 GMC Denali is on sale. All Denali's are on sale. Hurry into Wolf GMC Buick for the best selection. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy because all Denali's are on sale.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Alberta Junior Hockey League, Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, and the Hockey Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. A new state-of-the-art entertainment center is set to open in Nisku, which will feature 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and restaurant with a viewing area.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of those people out there looking for something different to heat and cool your home? Weiss Johnson is Edmonton's cold climate heat pump specialist and would love to explain to you how Trane heat pumps are a reliable, cost-effective alternative for your home's heating and cooling needs. Order your Trane heat pump now and take advantage of the generous government rebates that are available. Trane, it's hard to stop a Trane. Call the most experienced HVAC company around with over 45 years in business. Visit wjcools.com today.
At Toyota, we build quality vehicles with you in mind. I mean, it's not like we're always thinking about you. We're not obsessed or anything. We just know you value your 9 to 5 as much as your 5 to 9. And with the reliable RAV4 always ready to roll, you're capable of making the most of both. It's time to make every moment count. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2024 RAV4 LE all-wheel drive from $95 weekly for 64 months at 7.29% APR with $3,499 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today. FYI, still thinking about you.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We've continued to develop.
Welcome back. How are you? Thursday afternoon. Edmonton Oilers have won 3 in a row, baby. Ooh, geez. Technically, that means by next Monday at around 8:30 at night. In theory, they could have won 5 in a row, which then means Connor Halley would suddenly only be 3 months instead of 6 months for the ring of confidence, as I like to call it, not the Leahy anymore, the ring of confidence. So dare to dream, man. Dare to dream. It's not like it doesn't look bad now, but I'll tell you, it's in a week or two, man. It is. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty awful to be honest. So see how it goes. But
YouTube chat very confident in an Oilers win on Saturday, like 8-3, big time blowout.
Yeah.
So
well, I
there you
like
go.
this one from Dan. Hey, Gregor, the Oilers should win 5 in a row. They got you into this mess. They can get you out of it. Plus, it's giving me a lot of laughs. Oh, well, hey, you know what? We'd like to add some laughs to the show for sure. Hey, maybe, wow, there's not anybody else. There's very few that can compete with the stupidity of the Ring of Confidence. So, I don't know, like, what would be the equivalent for TR? It'd be like saying TR, if he loses a bet, he's got to go with a mohawk, right? But you probably have worn a mohawk at once in your life, haven't you, TR?
Yeah, and it's all out now as an actor, right? It's gone. I can't do any of that stuff anymore. It might seem like I have a wild haircut, but it's for this specific role. And when I started this, we could have taken any haircut. This wasn't, I just said, sure, give me the mullet with 3 strips down the side. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, because now I can't ever be too far away from this haircut as long as the show's going. You know what I mean? But I'd love to do it. What I normally do in these situations now, I have them all the time. I have a bet with my buddies, and if I lose and it's something like this, then we'll go like, okay, how about this? Go in and like put mustard all over the side of my face, like I just ate a sandwich and I don't realize it, and walk through the mall and talk to people and greet them, and embarrassing things like that. Maybe have
stuff. Yeah,
embarrassing stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
We are creative, I guess. That's just one example. There's all kinds of weird things you can come up with, as you know.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Let's get to Ryan's rant now, brought to you by Action Electrical, family-run business for over 50 years. Now, they've also have, we've talked a lot about their solar, but they do also have electrical preventative maintenance for commercial buildings, all the infrared testing, energized and de-energized testing. So very well versed in a lot of different things. Learn more at actionelectrical.net. Here is Terry Ryan and Ryan's rant.
Well, thank you, Jason. Now, first of all, what I was going to talk about was Jay Woodcroft and Paul Coffey, and we've already talked about that. So I do have some talking points I'd like to discuss with you, and I'm going to just add a little bit of something to what you said earlier. I can identify with what you meant when you said sometimes people come in and they're not your guy and you don't feel as protected. Well, again, I don't need to remind anybody, I went 8th overall. Like, think how much Jacques Demers and Serge Savard thought of me to pick me 8th overall, right? Like that. And I know I was somewhere in the first round, but that was a bit higher than I think I thought. I thought I was going number 10 or 11, 10 really. Definitely, I had confidence, but I didn't see 8. I didn't get interviewed by Montreal even. But when they drafted me, they were very confident. They gave me a couple of exhibition games, like in the Forum when I was 18. But when Patrick Waugh went crazy there in that 9-1 Detroit romp and he demanded a trade and everybody, they cleaned house. Now me, Turner Stevenson, Brad Brown, Darcy Tucker, guys that they picked to be like, come in and like, add a bit of toughness. They wanted to go that direction. It went back the other way and they didn't want that. And they didn't think we were good skaters. And I remember Jacques Demers having so much confidence. He said, we're going to win a Stanley Cup and you're going to be a big part of it. And he said, third line, 15 to 20, the odd power play. Like, that's what they wanted from the beginning. And I felt that's achievable. Like, I'm first round, but they're not saying go get 50 goals. Like, geez, I really saw it and I was so happy. And, it was one thing Michel Therrien I talk about, but he was my coach in the minors. I didn't like him. And I can say at the time, I don't like this word, but I used it at the time. I hate that guy. But it wasn't all hate, like with him, but with Ray-Jean Houle, he was a nice guy. We're still friends. I go to alumni games with him. But I remember he looked in my eye and I said, I don't understand. I'm getting called up. I'm getting one shift. I usually fight. I'm like rookie of the year in the minors. Now I'm down there again with this guy. Like, Reggie, what are you doing? I said, why did you pick me 8th overall? And he said, I didn't. And we, with the people that are here now, you're just not a good enough skater. But he said, you are pretty tough. You're way tougher than I thought. He said, you can throw him. And he said, we'll have you in the minors, be one of the first call-ups. Like, he offered me the contract, right? 15% raise or whatever it was. It wasn't his guy, and it couldn't have been any more plain. And this isn't what I plan to rant about, but just to pick up on what you were saying earlier, I identify with that. And I can often see in a player's demeanor whether the coach is on his side or not, right? But one of the things I wanted to talk about, because I find this really intriguing. When the Oilers just went through all that mess, now they have two of the best players in the world in their primes.
Yeah.
I never would have said trade them. I'm not saying that I would have. But do you think hockey will ever, because it wasn't even a consideration, really. I mean, everybody knew that wasn't going to happen. In basketball, they would have already been traded fourth. They'd be on their fourth and fifth teams by now, right? And it was, if you really think about it, that was a valid solution. Trade one of those guys, a shitload of prospects, and, think about what you could get, but it would never get there. It wouldn't happen in hockey, right?
I think we lost TR there. Blew out the wrong time. So try to reconnect with him, unfortunately. But it is, I think his point was, well, it is funny. The NBA, some of the big stars. Now, it is interesting. Like you look at Giannis hasn't been traded. Steph Curry hasn't been traded. They've had some success. But there is lots of other guys that have bounced around from place to place. And, the NHL, I do wonder about the NHL. And there does seem to be a bigger willingness to commit to teams. Although, and I've said this for many years, I believe change is coming. Not that players won't commit to organizations, that I don't believe they're going to commit as long-term. And I know some people get upset, oh, look at Austin Matthews. Well, Austin Matthews, if we're looking at strictly from a business standpoint, he made a very good business decision. Signs for 5 years, gets high money. Now he signs for 4 years, gets big money. He's going to be in prime for another huge contract when that deal's done. Now, it might be in Toronto. He might be there all the time, but he's making good money. But it's also, it forces the team to stay somewhat competitive and relevant, right? Whereas if you get a guy locked in for 8 years and all of a sudden, this guy's locked in with us and we're not going to trade him. So what do you do as a player, right? You don't have as many options, TR. But I do think, because I know the NBA, and I don't want to speak what you were going to say to finish off your point, but I really think that the NHL, I think we're going to slowly see a little bit of a change of the landscape in the contract length for players. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this isn't coming from a place of criticism. I'm just kind of curious. Like, there's certain things. We're on set, and people are asking me questions about what separates hockey and the off seasons and everything, and we're all comparing rules and dynamic. And that one, they were at, and I'm just like, hockey's not there yet for reasons you would probably know more than anything. But with the way the contracts are structured, I would think it would be an option more often than it actually happens. And maybe there's a different relationship with fans and players, maybe in hockey. I mean, you'd have to dig deep, but I mean, think of the reaction when Gretzky left, and that would probably, this is what, how many years later are we talking? 30-something years, 34 years later, and I think it would be a similar feeling if Connor McDavid was to get traded. Do you?
Oh, goodness. Yeah. I think Oiler fans, I could, to me, there's no point worrying about it now because he still has the rest of this year and 2 more. But if, to me, I think the easier sign is going to be potentially the Leon Draisaitl. If Leon Draisaitl resigns at Edmonton, I think that's really good foreshadowing that Connor McDavid's resigning in Edmonton. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. I think those two are very cool. Now, and I've said this on record, and some Oiler fans don't like it. I think Leon Draisaitl, if I was Leon Draisaitl, I would do exactly what Austin Matthews did. And I would re-sign in Edmonton, but I'm only re-signing for 4 years. That's what I would do if I was Leon Draisaitl. And if I was the Edmonton Oilers, I would take that, because that means, let's say he signs that next season. That still means you have a guaranteed 5 more years with him. Guaranteed. And then if McDavid does it the following year, well, you have 5 more. You technically have 6 with him. So I would take that all day long, right? I would take that all day long.
I don't think McDavid's going anywhere. He's too good of a guy. He doesn't want. I mean, it'd be mixed emotions, but some people would just despise him. They'd run it. They'd hate it. I don't think he wants that. I don't know. I've never met the guy. It doesn't seem to me in the cards that he's just going to leave. I mean, I don't know. There's a level of conscience to it. Maybe he just doesn't seem like that guy, but I could be wrong. Now, And it is dollars and cents. I get that. With all these games in Europe, and I'm spanning all the sports. I'm not just talking about hockey, but let's say hockey. What is the ultimate goal? Like, you're growing the game. I get it, especially like it's a fun. This almost now reminds me of like All-Star Weekend over there, right? All the Swedes are coming back. It's Borja Salming Day. Like, everybody's happy, with no disrespect to his disease. But like, it's like a big celebration. And I get it. It's nice. You promote the game. It's already pretty popular there. Now, football, it seems to me, I don't know, but maybe sometime they're going to expand over there or have a division. I don't know. Is hockey, do you think ever, we're talking 30 years down the road. We have this conversation before. What do you think is different in 30 years? Do you think there's a European division? Do you think portions of every team season are going to be over there, or just like one-offs? Like, I think, didn't the Leafs score like the early 90s? It wasn't really much different, right? Like, what are we doing going to Europe in these sports? And is there a chance that either one of them is going to expand overseas in some way or another?
It's a very good question. It's so challenging to do it when you think of the travel, right? Like, to me, that's if you're going to expand, you literally have to expand with 6 teams right over there, and they would play. And so then when you would go over there, you would literally go, and it would be a long road trip for a team, right? And you might play it. And if you did it, Terry, you'd have to play. If you go over there and you could do now depending on it, if some of the teams are there, then the other teams are going to be in North America at the same time, right? That's going to be the challenge. So let's say you have a 6-team league over there, which is really difficult to do. How do you expand 6 teams at once? I don't think there's enough players. So if you only did 2 teams, well, now I fly all the way over there. Am I going to play each team once and fly back? That'd be awful. You literally would have to go over there and say, okay, we're flying over there now, and we're going to play Sweden twice and the other Swedish team twice, and maybe 4. Like, I don't see how it's viable when I look at the contract, when I look at the scheduling. How do you do it? That's my biggest question. How do you feasibly do it to allow, other than just a pure money grab? How do you do it? Like, I can't see the logistics. If I have 32 teams over here and I have 2 teams in Europe, how do I do road trips? Like, those 2 teams, they come over here, and now they play every team once. They're on like a month road trip, right? Where they do 15 games 1 month, and then they're home, and every team goes over there, I guess. But that's I don't know. It seems like a lot of travel for the North American teams to go there to play 2 or 4 games. So that's, I don't see how it's viable.
Maybe the only way I could see it is if, like, say it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, but they play 2 games a year, every year in Stockholm. And maybe the Florida Panthers play 2 games every year in Cologne, Germany. And it becomes like a little bit of a home following in those cities. But again, the other thing, like, I keep talking about, I don't really love the shootout. I'd like to see 5 more minutes of overtime. And no one wants that. The players are going to get tired. But you're going to up and leave and get on like a 10-hour connection. Or I just don't understand it. Both things make you tired. One thing really wears you down, and you got to. It's not only the travel; it's now the Leafs and Detroit and Senators. Is it now they're going to have to make up those days when they get back? And there's like going to be 2 or 3 times where they play like 4 and 6 as opposed. So to me, that's much more tiring as a player. If I was a player thinking about 5 more minutes of overtime, I didn't want to air out the other. Really, I don't care how much come on, it's 5 minutes. Now, if we're talking travel to Europe, right? Yeah. And I mean, as a player, I would love to do it. I'd say yes, because I'd want to see the world and experience, but I'd know deep in my heart that I'm not going to give it might be 95%, it might be 75, I don't know, but I'm definitely not going to be myself flying over to Helsinki or wherever, to play games and then come back and play for my North American team a few days later. There's no way. It doesn't take anything out of me. And I'm going to argue more than it would an extra 5 minutes once in a blue moon.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, how'd you do a playoff series? What happens there? Are you all on the road? You can't fly back to Europe and forth in a 7-game series. It's just, I don't see how it's feasible, to be honest, long term. So that's unless you're doing a massive expansion of 6 teams, and I don't think you have enough players available.
Could the winners play each other? What if it was like a Champions League?
Yeah, but then again, you'd have to have And you'd have to have that many teams, right? You'd have to say the NHL is going to expand. Like, I don't know, maybe they get all the elite leagues in Finland, Sweden, and Slovakia and the Czech Republic. They all become one. But even then, like, now I guess you'd have to do like a whole redraft or something, like, to spread out the talent across the board, because obviously those teams wouldn't be able to compete head to head with NHL teams. So I think it's a fair question. I think they just want to keep growing interest. Like, you see the NHL websites, like if you go on, like you can go to NHL.com, /SV, and you have it in Finnish and in Swedish. And so, you're at least adhering to your audience. They're reasoning in their native language, so they understand it better, right? It's geared towards them, right? So you could, that's a step in the right direction, no question, for the NHL. But as far as ever hosting team, like, I think they do these trips, and we see a few more of them here or there. And, Michael Nylander comes back and people love it. And obviously Leon Draisaitl goes to Germany. The German fans like, this is unbelievable. And the European players love it because they would never thought it was possible to play an NHL game on their home soil. So that stuff's all wonderful. But in 30 years, Terry, first of all, I want to say I'm still here in 30 years would be great. But number two, I don't think I see it. To answer a long answer, I don't think I see it.
I'm just surprised it happens in the regular season. I figured this would always be exhibition,
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's totally fair, right? Hey, guys, what about in a few years if they have a plane that can get you there in 3 or 4 hours? Would that change it? Well, yeah, sure, if you could. Because, right now the flights from east to west in the States are taking that long. So I guess if that became something, sure. But then you'd have to think of all the difference. Well, the time is one thing. Then there's the time zone, right? Like, it's 6 hours from the east. It's 9 hours from Pacific, right? Like 8 hours from Mountain Time. So that's a big difference for sure. 4:23. It is time now to help your neighbor. It's the second last day, baby. So we'll start kind of where we finish, because tomorrow's going to be a fun one. Very easy. This is what's up for grabs. Somebody courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling is going to win a brand new furnace, courtesy of you, because you're going to be the gifter. You're going to win a great prize pack for yourself. Yes, includes tickets and Ecobee Smart Thermostat, stuff like that for your home. That's awesome. But the main thing is you're going to gift a brand new high-efficiency furnace. All of the bells and whistles come with it, right? They'll take out the person's old furnace. It's got warranty on parts and labor. It's awesome. Text in the word legacy right now with your name. Text legacy and your name to 833-401-1440, and you could be the winner. We'll come back.
Your furnace is broken. Legacy Heating and Cooling will give it a good talking to and make it smarten its act up right now.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If your furnace is disobedient and refuses to heat.
Call Legacy.
If you just want some peace of mind this winter.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Plus, Legacy never charges overtime rates. Always call Legacy Heating and Cooling.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Akel at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
First Round is Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Get in the game and watch NFL football this season at First Round, and you'll have a chance to win a trip to your favorite NFL city to watch a game in person next season. And the hits keep on coming with food and drink specials, big screen TVs, and more. Catch the Pro Bowl brunch every Sunday, Monday Night Football, and head in Thursdays for your chance to win an NFL replica helmet. NFL at First Round. Burgers, beer, sports. Downtown West Edmonton Mall and at 1strnd.ca.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every single Oilers game at OTR with $4.50 Molson Canadian and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win, and you could walk away with a ton of On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave and 118th.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down
427. Con Man is searching. So we'll give you a few more minutes to get in at 833-401-1440. Put your name and the code word legacy, and you could get qualified. It's our second final day, and help your neighbor. And next Monday, we're going to gift someone a brand new high-efficiency furnace, courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling, which is pretty awesome, man. That is going to be at the perfect time of year. It's going to be a game changer for sure. Let's go around the NHL now. Brought to you by McDonald's, and it's Thursday. You know what that means? Fan Day deals are back. You can enjoy a Big Mac, a McChicken, or a filet of fish for only $4 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday when you use the McDonald's app. So do it today. Get good savings at McDonald's. And hey, there's a deal that is definitely happening. There was a deal that was close to happening, and then a slow start, according to reports, had the deal falling by the wayside. And now you wonder what is going to happen moving forward for the Calgary Flames. To discuss, Julian McKenzie from The Athletic in Calgary joins us. And Julian, there was, of course, it looked like Noah Hannafin was very close on a deal, and all of a sudden there's no deal. And, the Flames are, they're still like the Oilers. They're struggling below where they want to be. They've shown some signs they're getting a little bit better, but he's not signed. They got a lot of guys. Lindholm not signed. Maybe it's not urgency yet because, hey, you know what? If you get him signed February 28th, whatever, as long as you get him signed by the deadline. But do you think that this almost guarantees now that Hannafin, because unless the Flames are comfortably in a playoff spot, which would seem unlikely, they're going to have to trade some of these guys. They can't go in and risk losing them for nothing, can they, in the offseason?
I think if you're the Flames right now, no better time to wait. Craig Conroy had this whole wait and see approach with Hannafin and Lindholm leading up to this point. Why should he be in any rush to sign these guys now, as far as I'm concerned? See what your team is going to do leading up into the new year, leading up until the deadline, and then you make that decision about whether or not you should sign these guys. That being said, you're absolutely right, and Greg Conroy knows this too. He cannot afford to lose these guys for nothing. If it were up to me, I think I'm leaning towards selling these guys off, retooling with the assets I'm able to get for a Hannafin, for a Lindholm, even for a Tanev or a Zadorov in this situation, right? We've heard about the trade request from Zadorov. Tanev is also a pending UFA. This is as good of an opportunity as the Flames can get to recoup as many assets as they can get, put them around some of the more expensive contracts that they have, and try to see if at least for next year they can have a better team and go forward from there. I get that everyone in that locker room is going to say that they're still confident in their team. They feel, if they could just sneak into the playoffs, anything could happen. And we've seen it work before. But I just think with the roster that they have right now, I don't think they've shown enough to show that they could compete night in, night out. And if they take the opportunity to get returns for these assets, that could at least lead them on that other path. I think they're a lot closer to the other path if they do that, as opposed to sticking with the status quo. But that's just me.
So, like Hannafin and Lindholm, if you had to put them in order, who is the most likely to least likely to sign an extension in Calgary?
I mean, with all of those guys, so you're saying like Hannafin, Lindholm, Tanev, Zadorov, you're lumping in all those guys?
Yeah,
Or
like
just
all their
those
big
two?
UFA guys.
That's kind of difficult, I guess. Again, just going off of my initial answer. I mean, the fact that Hannafin seemed close, and then it seemed like it just didn't work out in the end in terms of signing something. I'm still surprised that we're even at that point, because it seemed as if he was going to test the free agent waters and play for a team in the States. I still think that's going to end up happening, especially if the team ends up rebooting. Lindholm, at this point, I think it's just a money thing. I know he's put himself out there and he said, hey, I want to be here. He didn't full on say, hey, sign me to $9 million. But if a player is willing to stay here, and the GM earlier in the year was saying, hey, he was a number one priority, money has to be the big reason why, right? And when you look at his statistics to the start of the year, he doesn't look like a guy who should be making above $8.5-9 million, right? Like, that's a lot of questions with that. I mean, even Tanev as a Zadorov, right? Like, those two defensemen, I still think you could get something for them at the market. It's kind of difficult to do that ranking. I know I'm kind of copping out of the question here, but especially now when you look at this team and where they're at, and it might still be too soon to tell if they need to do a full-on rebuild or a restructuring is just what they need. But it's really difficult to kind of measure up who should be signing what when I think signs are pointing to them having to sell off these assets to get something.
Julian, when you're talking about the Calgary Flames lately, the elephant in the room is often Huberdeau. Now, we're well into his second year now, and he's still disappointing, for lack of a better way to put it. I read an article today that hinted at a possible buyout. Now, that's a lot of money and a lot of term. Is that even possible?
Not really. I mean, like, unless you're willing to deal with that for the next 14 years. Like, that's not something that I think you could feasibly do. I see some people have been asking me, hey, is there any way you could even trade that contract? If you're Craig Conroy and you're in a position where you have to offload that contract, like, one, you have to retain salary. Two, you're probably going to have to add some kind of pick or prospect to sweeten the deal in terms of taking him. And looking at this team right now, does this look like a team that needs to give up on prospects or picks? Nuh-uh. I think in this situation with Jonathan Huberdeau, he has no confidence. I get that. And he needs something to get himself going. You're better off trying to look elsewhere to find a player who can play with him somewhere in this lineup to get him going. I mean, Nazem Kadri might not be the most perfect example in all of this, but he did not get off to a good start this year. They call up Connor Zary. They call up Martin Pospisil. All of a sudden, he looks a lot better. And I know at the beginning of last year, he looked good, but he trailed off after that. But now, all of a sudden, he looks like a good player. And I know he may or may not want to stick around during a rebuild. That remains to be seen. But at the very least, if you're saying, hey, we want to move on from Nazem Kadri, at least that's an asset that's doing something. But Jonathan Huberdeau, like, I don't see a buyout happening with this club. I think with him, you're a lot closer off to seeing the team trying to get better players around him to get him going. Another thing, too, like I remember after he got benched a couple nights ago, it was really fascinating to see how guys like Dylan Dubé and Mackenzie Weegar were kind of leaping to his defense. I don't get the sense that even though he is not playing well, I mean, I can't speak for everyone in that room. I don't get a sense that everyone like hates the guy or is that frustrated with him that they want him gone. So I think if the team does something to try to help him get going, and I get it, it's weird to do that for a $10.5 million guy, but you're committing to him all that money for the next 8 years, and a buyout right now really just isn't a feasible option unless you really want to be on the hook for the next how many years with that salary and how much you might count on the cap. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Julian, you look at the Flames, they're 3-1-1 in their last 5, and similar to the Oilers, they've beaten on teams that they probably should beat, right? The Canadians, the Predators, Seattle. They lost in a shootout to Toronto in a very exciting game. They got the Canucks tonight. The Canucks are playing second half of a back-to-back. Then they got the Islanders, Seattle, Nashville again. Then their schedule gets really difficult. Dallas, Colorado, Vegas, Dallas in a stretch of 4 games. Like, not that 4 games are make or break, but like the next week or so here for the Flames, like A, from a confidence factor, and B, just from a standings factor, they kind of got to make hay here, or all of a sudden, you head into the final week in November playing the 3 hottest teams in the NHL in the Western Conference. And, like you could find yourself in a world of hurt where the GM has no choice but to sell off. What do you sense is kind of the, is there a confidence there that's noticeably better after this recent 3-1-1 streak, or is it still a little bit of, we're not sure who we are?
I think there is some sense of growing confidence, and I think those younger players being in the lineup, like a Connor Zary and a Martin Pospisil, have made the difference. I've asked guys in the locker room and Ryan Huska myself at different points, how much of a difference it makes having those young guys there. They look at least a little bit faster, maybe a little bit more dynamism in their play. But I'll say this, like before the road trip began, I was definitely of that mindset that they needed a positive result, or else the questions we'd be asking about them would be a lot closer to saying, hey, when is this retool going to start? I think the fact that even if they only got 3 out of a possible 6 points on that road trip, I think the fact that the guys were able to at least end with a win, I think some guys are going to take that as a positive. The fact that Jacob Markstrom has performed as well as he has, that's another positive. Zary and Kadri also getting points on that road trip. There's positives for them to build on. I mean, obviously you're still not getting sufficient production from Jonathan Huberdeau. I get it, but I think there's still some guys in that room that are they're still going to be a little bit patient on that. We'll see how that goes, but I think you're absolutely right in terms of that schedule going forward, especially when it gets heavy with some of those tougher teams. If they're not able to compete with them, that sort of answers Craig Conroy's question. But I think the fact that they won those last few games, that at least keeps them afloat a little bit for the foreseeable future, even though they're still near the bottom of the standings. At least for them, if they just pile on a few more wins, maybe that changes something. But even then, like I really don't know how they're going to stack up against some of those tougher teams.
And that's fair. You look at, what about the goaltending situation? What are you hearing there on Wolf? And like, is Vladar clearly on the market in your eyes? And how quickly would they want to look at making a move there?
Well, I mean, I haven't heard anything immediately on that front. All I know, I can tell you for sure, is this team wants to see Dustin Wolf play. And that's something that Craig Conroy has made clear from the offseason in talking to Jordan Sigala, who was the director of goaltending for this team. He said that this team knows that Dustin Wolf can play games. And the fact that they were willing to call up Dustin Wolf this past weekend, and Jacob Markstrom was day-to-day with an undisclosed injury, but they were able to get Dustin Wolf in a game. I think that's already in line with an idea they have for Jacob Markstrom, where they don't want him playing like 60 games in a season. They want to decrease that workload and get him to around 50-something games. And if you're at a point where, Dan Vladar can get you a couple of games in, but you're also able to call up Dustin Wolf and you're able to see what you can get out of him. And I'm not saying he's going to get like 25, 30 games, but like, even if he just gets 10 games this year, like I still think that's a good way to ease him into the NHL. And even in that one game Dustin Wolf got against the Ottawa Senators, it ended in a loss. That's not on Dustin Wolf. I think the Ottawa Senators did a great job of getting traffic in front of him, and he did struggle with that a little bit. But otherwise, I think the team in front of him could have done a lot better in terms of generating offense and being a lot better defensively in front of him. That's not on Dustin Wolf. So I think in terms of what could be done in terms of Dan Vladar's future, even if I can't answer that, I'll tell you this. It's not surprising to see Dustin Wolf get that little bit of time over the weekend, and it wouldn't surprise me if the opportunity presents itself that they do it again and try to find a way to get their best prospect in the system more time.
Julian,
What's
we
the vibe
really.
with the fan?
Oh, go ahead, TR.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I was just
you
curious what the vibe is. Would they support a rebuild? They're not really prepared for this. A year ago, you were talking about Huberdeau coming over. He was second in the NHL in scoring, I think. There was a lot of reasons to be positive. Kadri just won a cup. Since multiple players have kind of either asked for a trade, been traded, or let it be known that they want to be traded, and now they're talking about rebuild. What's the vibe with the fans?
There's a section of fans who have been clamoring for a rebuild since last season, but they're starting to, and I'm basically going off of this recent mailbag call out I did for The Athletic. there's a small section of them that are seeing these young players do well with them, and they're wondering, hey, do we still need it? And there's also another group of them that are like, do rebuilds actually work? And I think that's a question worth asking, because rebuilds work to a certain extent, but there are teams like Ottawa and Buffalo who have been rebuilding for a long time. And as we're talking right now, they're at the bottom of the Atlantic Division. Here's the thing. Even if I know I said earlier, like, hey, I think the Flames might be better off selling off some of those assets, retooling, getting pieces. I still think that could be the right move. What I warn fans, especially those who've been banging that drum for a long time about a rebuild, rebuilds don't have a set time. You don't just say, okay, we're just going to do this for this 1 year and we're going to be good all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could do that, but you could do that to varying results.
Yeah.
It's not a 1 year thing. It's not a 3 year thing. It's not a 5 year thing. It's an indeterminate amount of time. And you could find yourself in a situation where the team you're cheering for is rebuilding a rebuild. Or you could find yourself in a position like the Dallas Stars where you needed some younger players around you. You have an outstanding 2017 draft class where you get a franchise goalie, a franchise winger, a franchise defenseman, and you're good to go. I think there are elements of rebuilding that teams could take, and that's what I tried to do in the latest article I wrote, where I thought the Flames should look at what the Canadians have done in terms of their rebuilding efforts. But it's not a guarantee that the Flames are going to be this competitive team in time for their new building in 2027. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying, for those who really want it, like, be careful what you wish for, because you have no idea how long the rebuilding efforts will take. And you have no idea if, even if you get like high picks, you could be like what Montreal's going through right now, where it's like, okay, you're still waiting on a guy like Juraj Slafkovsky to show that high ceiling that many people bigged him up for ahead of the draft. Maybe you still need elite talent, and you might still need to either go through the draft or trade for that talent. Who knows? It's a process, and it's not something that's going to be done overnight.
Number one thing, don't rush players. Slafkovsky, they screwed him up just after doing the same thing for Kotkaniemi. Sure, different GM, but the same mistake. And too many teams do that. If you commit to a rebuild, then commit to it and stop thinking, oh, let's get this 18-year-old in because he's going to help us right away. It's so moronic. I've never understood it. Julian, thanks for your time, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me hang out, guys. Peace.
You betcha. That's Julian McKenzie joining us from The Athletic in Calgary. And hey, congratulations. We have today's second final qualifier for Help Your Neighbor. Alan, congratulations, my man. You have qualified. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Hey, we're excellent. So you're in. You automatically win the Sports 1440 hat as well. You will be in the draw where you win tickets and get some stuff for yourself. But then most importantly, you will then be able to gift a high efficiency furnace to one of somebody in your circle. They cannot live with you. They have to own their own home, and they have to reside within 100 kilometers of Edmonton. Do you have anyone? Have you been listening for a month now? You're like, hey, there's somebody I think I know who needs a furnace.
Yes, I've been listening every day and trying to get through. I have a niece that I have in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Well, stay on the line, Alan, and Connor will get all your information. Be sure to be tuning in Monday. We'll listen every day, of course, but definitely listen on Monday, because if your name is called, you're the big winner, and then your niece will be the big winner.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
There you go. It's that easy. Tomorrow is our final day to qualify in Help Your Neighbor. TR, how's your furnace? Good? Everything's set to go back home?
It's all set, my man. Yeah,
all right.
I'm just not going to be there for another month and a bit, but it's all good.
Okay, well, we'll return. We have 5 questions with Gregor, Terry Ryan. Lots more text to get to as you're listening to the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement at PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already.
Yeah, we're working in your basement.
With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
When you hand deliver a hamper to a family in need, everyone's hearts fill with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper Program, a charitable experience unlike anything in Edmonton. Sign up to adopt a local family, fill a hamper with food and gifts, then bring it to their door and see the difference you're making firsthand. With the rising cost of living impacting so many families, the need has never been greater. Sign up for the Holiday Hamper Program today at holidayhamper.ca.
Winter weather is hard on your vehicle. Help keep it in top shape with Pennzoil Ultra Motor Oil from Jiffy Lube. Oil changes on your schedule and 25 bonus air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
It's fall, and the leaves are they're gonna fall. But with the Lawnmower Hospital, you're ready with one of the most powerful backpack blowers on the market, the Echo PB9010T. It makes clearing the yard a breeze, and Echo chainsaws provide power and durability to take on anything tougher. And if you're looking to clean up snow commercially this winter, fleet programs are available. Ask in store, visit lawnmowerhospital.com.
At Toyota, we believe you deserve a truck like the Tundra. It's a truck that's capable, reliable, and ready for adventure, just like you. A truck that's tough on the outside, yet warm and comforting on the inside. What? You know you secretly enjoy a nice warm bubble bath? Don't we all? It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $169 weekly for 64 months at 8.49% APR with $6,999 down. Hybrid also available. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
How do we do it? Well, at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we invest. Our money and time goes right back into technology and training, and it's all designed to get you back into shape. We invest in people, the people who really care, and they understand how your body works. Then they combine their experience, training, and skills to work with you to help you solve your issues, be it pain in the back, neck, arm, shoulder, heel, literally head to toe. Leading Edge Physiotherapy, always taking new patients because we keep fixing the old ones. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. How are you? Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley on a lovely Thursday. What about the weather here? Man, it's going to be plus 10 this weekend. Absolutely ridiculous. That is very good. Very good. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. They are guaranteeing to save you, and they're committed to saving you more with their guaranteed price. If you do any shopping between now and Christmas and you find a lower price, You send it to them, and they'll reimburse you for anything you purchase. So it's a pretty good deal. Can't lose. Go to the Brick and thebrick.com. Let's get to Connor Halley.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1. Still a small sample size, I know, but when you look at Coach Knobloch with the Oilers, anything standing out to you about his coaching style and, I guess, style of play on the ice?
Well, I think, he's shown signs of vulnerability, that he's passionate, emotion, humility. I think those can be harnessed as leadership skills, I suppose. Some like Keenan, others wear their heart on their sleeve. And that's just what I see so far, but I'm biased because I knew of and I've met Chris before.
For me, I have really liked how open and transparent he's been with why he does things and makes decisions. He explains why he started his overtime. Would Durant just say, well, I thought 2 defensemen was a good idea? No, he went into his detail, which made sense. The minute I saw it, I was like, well, yeah, if you win the faceoff, you put McDavid right on the ice. If you lose the faceoff, now he doesn't have to waste a minute defending. So, and plus you have 2 defenders out who in theory should be better defenders. So that made sense. He talked about why he changed the lines in the second period. It wasn't really planned, but then they scored the first time together. And he was like, well, geez, now we got some juice. So you kind of ride that wave of emotion. And I think he's really giving fans some insight into what he's thinking. And really, as a fan, I don't think you could ask for more than that. You don't have to agree with it's not about agreeing. It's not someone explains something. You're like, well, that doesn't mean they expect you to agree with it, but you have to respect them because they told you why they thought it. End of discussion. It's easy to say, well, you shouldn't have put that line combination out. Of course. Do you think any coach in history would put a line combination out thinking it wouldn't have some success? Of course not. No one knows, right? It's like, very, very few people are talking about, until we brought it up, the Darnell Nurse play. Darnell Nurse doesn't make that play, they lose the game. Like, that's a huge play. It's not really talked about until we brought it up. So I think stuff like that matters. And I think Knobloch early on, I've liked how he's open, and he said, and sometimes like, you know what? I don't really know. I think that is one of the best traits to have is when, I'm not sure. I've only been here 2 days. I can't answer that.
Question number 2, tough road trip for the Oilers coming up before a gamer taking on the Lightning, Panthers, Hurricanes, and Capitals. What do you think their record will be?
Well, they need what it will be and need be. I don't know. I've sucked at this all year, but I'm going to say the Oilers find a way to go 2-1-1.
Yeah, that was exactly my answer. So I'm not going to change it because you differed or because you said the same thing. I'm going to say the same. I have a feeling they're going to go 2-1-1, and I'm going to ride it.
Question number 3 should be a good one tonight as the Bengals take on the Ravens, 2 of the teams that expected to be pretty competitive in the AFC. So if I ask you guys right now, who are your top 3 teams in that conference, 1 through 3? How would it look?
That's a good question.
I'm going Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, if you can believe it. But that's what I had early on, and I haven't been swayed away from that yet. I know that there's been ups and downs, but that's what I'm going with.
I would agree with the Chiefs. I got to put the Ravens in, man. Like, they impress me. I'll put the Ravens, and I still think the Cincinnati Bengals are a top 3 team. They've had lots of injuries. You look, T. Higgins is out again. So I will still say the Bengals. I think they're pretty good.
Question number 4. Obviously, it was now approved officially that the Athletics will be moving to Las Vegas. So in the power rankings of places you'd like to catch a Major League Baseball game, where do you have Vegas right now?
Well, has it been determined? Is it going to be an outdoor or indoor stadium? It's got to be indoor, right? Cons?
I think from the designs, I'll have to take a look. But for the Heat, you would think. But then again, the AAA team always played outdoors.
Oh, my God. Well, then I don't put it high on the list. Like, seriously, I don't want to go there where I have to get a fan. I'm wearing shorts. I'm probably, even if you don't want to, everybody's going shirtless just because you're just sweating bullets. Like, do I want to be sitting in the crowd in Vegas in the middle of July and August? No chance. So if it's not a dome stadium, I'm not putting it on the list of places I want to be.
The renderings do have it as an open air stadium.
Yeah, well then, nope. No thanks. Maybe later in the year, but God, you get into July. I've been to Vegas once, and I vowed I would never go. And that's when I was at the pool. Never mind sitting in a stadium. So no, I'm not. It doesn't rank high on my list.
Yeah, I've been to Vegas once, if you can believe it, and I'm not big into gambling. I'd go to see a show or something, but when you tell me baseball, I've got no but Vegas doesn't pop into my head. I wouldn't turn it down. But my favorite place to have a beer in the world, by the way, is in Fenway Park, and I'm not a Red Sox fan. I just really feel like I'm in a time machine when I'm in that place. You know, I don't know, Chicago, New York. I'm more of a traditionalist that way. If I'm actually going to go see a game, you know, we're talking about to see the baseball being played,
yeah,
and the venue, which to me, I don't know. Vegas is more like a novelty. Wouldn't turn it down, but I'm not begging to get there to watch a game.
Final question for you guys. Of course, Grey Cup this weekend. For those not in the home city, it's always meaning there's going to be some Grey Cup parties you can attend. So when it comes to the Grey Cup party, what is a must-have on the menu?
Well, first of all, TR, have you ever been to the Grey Cup?
I've never been to the Grey Cup, no.
Oh, well, guess what? Strutty had not been to the Grey Cup until he came and worked on our show. We took him to the Grey Cup, and the night train realized that he had missed out on a lot of his life for not going there. And I think you would fall into the same category. So in the next few years, you know what? We'll plan to make sure Shoresy's not filming during Grey Cup week, and we will make a trek to Grey Cup. And I will tell you, as a social person that you are there. You're going to be like, this is amazing. It's literally, because I will say this. I've met lots of Maritimers. You go to Grey Cup, it's like you have everybody's a Maritimer all of a sudden, and everybody's friendly, and everybody gets along, and it's an unbelievable party. So, cons to me, number one, I think you need to have a bottle of water with you at all times, because hydration is key. Otherwise, you can get sideways very quickly. So a bottle of water just to keep you somewhat on the rails. You will need to stop in for sure at the Spirit of Edmonton room at least twice over your tour there. And whatever, I believe the Spirit of Edmonton breakfast is a must-have, because it starts your day on Saturday and it becomes an all-dayer. And I know that, you pace yourself maybe different than you would when you're 20. But when you go to an all-day Grey Cup festivity, you can go to the parades, you want to just tour around the local city that you're in to different pubs, it's amazing. But if I had to start one cons, it's the Spirit of Edmonton breakfast, and you will never, ever regret it. Never, ever.
Really? So word that question again for me?
Well, the question was more so for those, not going. Like if you're going to be at home, it could be if you're there as well.
So I misunderstood.
If you're not going, for the people that are at home, going to those Grey Cup parties with, friends, family, whatever it might be, what is the must-have on the menu?
Wow. So I like Jason's answer, because I would like to do that exactly as he said it. If I'm hosting, oh God, guys, I want to make sure that you got drinks for everybody. I mean, I don't host much, and when I do, I guess I do, but I get other people to do that. I mean, whatever food for me, I don't want to sound like some boozer or something, but food you're going to order, you can get skipped, you can get whatever. I want to make sure that I got enough beer, enough liquor, and I want to make sure that I've got enough ice.
I need a good, very good. If I'm hosting, I want a really good plate of nachos with lots of cheese and chicken. That's a must.
And music. I want to add that music. If it's at my place, there's going to be in between. There's going to be times that you want a good, even a room that you can get away from the game and listen to some pumping tunes.
TR is going to have like his ongoing halftime show that just runs the whole time at the other part of the house. It's not a bad idea, because you have lots of people who come for the Grey Cup party who aren't necessarily sports fans. So like, okay, I'll watch for 5-10 minutes. Oh, is there a music room over here? Well, maybe I'm in on that. Maybe TR's got a karaoke machine in that room. You never know.
That's, you know what? I think we're inventing a good party as we go here. We're brainstorming pretty good.
I like it. We actually, what we're going to plan it, because TR is coming to Edmonton later on. We have, the month of giving comes up soon. And here at the Sports 1440, we're going to have another thing that's unique that this year for people to get. I'm not sure if I'll use it for month of giving or not, or maybe I'll save it for a big listener kind of evening that you got to win your way in or donate your way in. We'll see. But we'll do that. It involves TR. Maybe he'll come in character as Hitch. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. TR, have a good weekend. You don't film. You just film tomorrow, and then you get 2 days off. Is that how it works?
We actually, tomorrow and Saturday are our weekends. We work Sunday to Thursday.
Okay.
It up a little bit.
What's on tap tomorrow? Are you going back to the Big Smoke, or where are you going?
It's Dolo's birthday tonight, so as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to go over and we're having a meal at the Keg here in Sudbury. And tomorrow is Sudbury Wolves are playing, and they're having Shoresy night, so there will be a lot of interaction. We're not on the clock or anything. It's a lot of fun though. We go and we do this kind of every year, but as the show gains momentum, and it's sold out. The Wolves game is sold out tomorrow, and I really, really enjoy watching Junior. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm not going just because it's Shoresy night. I can't wait to watch the Wolves play some junior hockey.
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, we'll get a scouting report on any of the players on the ice from you on Monday. All right. Have yourself an awesome weekend, and we'll chat with you then.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Edmonton.
That's Terry Ryan. Joins us every Monday and Thursday. Well, not everyone depending, because of course he's currently filming season 3 of Shoresy. So we love the fact that Thursdays we know are a guarantee because they're done. But Monday will be a little bit hit and miss here for the next 5 weeks, just depending on how busy of a shoot day he has on Mondays. When we return, Mark Spector will join us after the Con Man Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Edmonton Kubota. It's coming at some point. We know it's coming. As Game of Thrones would say, winter is coming. In this case, snow is coming. So don't get stressed. Plan ahead with all the great snow removal equipment they have and all the accessories you need to relieve your snow removal stress. EdmontonKubota.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Busy night in the NHL. One game done already as it was played earlier today out in Sweden. The Sens were up 4-0. Red Wings battling back to tie it up in forced overtime. But Tim Stützle would score the OT winner. Sens victorious 5-4. Later tonight, got the Golden Knights taking on the Canadiens. Penguins host the Devils. Coyotes in Columbus. The Hawks taking on the Lightning. Calgary welcomes the Vancouver Canucks to town. Islanders will take on the Kraken. Kings host the Panthers. And the Blues head to San Jose. Week 11 in the NFL kicks off with the 7-3 Ravens hosting division rival, the 5-4 Cincinnati Bengals. Kickoff at 6:15. You can watch that one at the South St. Albert Canadian Brewhouse with our very own Brandon Douglas for your chance to win a trip for two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Also a chance to go to the home opener of your choice in the 2024 season. In the association, just 2 games on the schedule. Heat host the Nets at 5:30. Then at 8 o'clock, it's the Thunder heading to San Fran to take on the Warriors, and 2 games in the AJ Drumheller in Camrose and Whitecourt hosting Fort Mac. Both those games will start at 7 o'clock. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and One Soccer's Gareth Wheeler. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
It's simply the best time to buy. The Black Friday event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. You'll save up to a game-changing $7,500 off your purchase or finance as low as 1.49%. Choose from a winning selection of 2023 cars and SUVs like the sleek S60 or the roomy and comfortable XC60s and 90s. Black Friday is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
At Toyota, we build quality trucks with you in mind because everyone loves a friend with a truck, especially a Toyota. A truck as dependable and capable as you are. So when that inevitable ring-a-ding-ding for help comes, you're there, rolling up in an award-winning truck because you're an award-worthy friend. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2023 Tacoma 4x4 double cab SR5 starting from $119 weekly for 64 months at 7.79% APR with $6,499 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
The Taboo, everything to do with sex show, is coming back to Edmonton this weekend. It's Edmonton's sexiest all-inclusive adult party. If you've never been to the Taboo show, you don't know what you're missing. Introducing Glow Friday and Masquerade Saturday. Taboo has something for everyone. It's all about feeling sexy. Bring your sweetheart, your friends, or come alone. Grab a drink, walk around, and enjoy non-stop stage entertainment, shopping, and seminars. Bad Dragon presents The Taboo Show this weekend at the Expo Center in Edmonton. Visit tabooshow.com.
Tackle winter weather with the X-Series snowblowers from Cub Cadet. Available in single, 2, and 3-stage models, the X-Series is engineered with powerful engines to quickly break through snow. Select models come with additional features like power steering for ease of handling and heated hand grips for comfort in cold conditions. Be prepared for winter with the Cub Cadet X-Series. Stop into Highline Motorsports, your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer at 4715 39th Ave in Wetaskiwin for expertise in finding the right equipment for your landscaping needs.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Can you believe that summer is over and fall is here? With that in mind, we are offering free furnace upgrades from Daikin, should you be looking to get a new furnace. This means getting a better model of furnace that provides you greater comfort at a lower price. Plus, Daikin has the best warranty in the business. There's never a better time to get a new Daikin furnace from Weiss Johnson. We know how important a good furnace is in Edmonton, so don't procrastinate as this is a limited time offer. Visit wjheats.com today.
I'm seriously, what do y'all think about this?
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell. eWell gives you more than premium quality electrical products. Are you ready to elevate your projects? Contact eWell to discuss how they can partner with you for success. ewel.ca.
Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440. It is the Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can go all in on excitement to get a $50 free bet when you use the promo code SPORTS50 for first timers. Try it out. Or if sports isn't your thing, casino, you can use a promo code casino50 as well. So check it out, PlayAlberta.ca. If you do gamble, stay within your limits. Use your game sense. Go to gamesense.ab.ca. The Edmonton Oilers jetted out today to Tampa Bay. Now, they don't play until Saturday, but long trip. They want to get out there early, so they'll be sleeping in their hotel bed tonight and tomorrow before the game, so maybe be a little bit more well-rested. Obviously, there's lots of studies on this that makes a little bit more sense for the long ones. Now, if you're playing in Minnesota on Saturday, you likely would have practiced at home today and then flew out tomorrow. Is usually how it goes. Much shorter flight, obviously only one time zone, so that's a factor for the Oilers. They actually do have an extra D-man and an extra forward on this road trip. I would expect Connor Brown will get the green light to go on Saturday. I'll be curious, though, what the lines are. Now, if it's me, I'm not starting Brown on the fourth line. I'm sorry, I'm not. I think he's better suited on the third line with McLeod and Fogle than Derek Ryan is. So I think Derek Ryan, win some faceoffs, kill some penalties, do some other stuff on your fourth line, no problem. But that's how I would start it. If I was Knobloch, we'll see what he does. And then eventually, I think in a few games, you're likely going to see Brown back on the top line with Connor McDavid. I think that's eventually what's going to happen. So we'll find out. It is time for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, where they're planning big 50th celebration. Actually, I ran into many of the fellas from GS last night at the game, and huge, big party plan. 50 years, man. It's amazing story in the Sandwith family to start that company and grow out. And guess what? If you want to work for them, this is the perfect time. You can get hired. You're working for the company just in time for the big 50 bash. Unreal timing for you. So go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. Spec is flying today, so we actually pre-taped this a little bit earlier this afternoon, right before the show started. Obviously, nothing was going to change from the time we spoke at around 1:40 today. And so here's the conversation with Spec and I today. Spec, it was not the prettiest game last night, but there's been some games this year, Winnipeg, Dallas, a few others where the Oilers probably deserved to win based on how they played. And last night, they really had a bad 12 minutes in the second period. But the rest of the game was all right. They come back. It's probably a good emotional boost. What do you take away from last night?
Yeah, you're right. When you mention those other games, like the fancy stat dudes, they've got terms for all of this now, regressing to the mean and the PDO that's going to even out in the end and all that. But us regular hockey guys just say that, what comes around goes around, right? When you have 3 or 4 games that they played where you outshoot a team 40-18 and lose, I don't care what happened in that game. That's really just crappy luck for the most part. And you're going to get some of those back. And last night, Edmonton collected one of those games. They weren't the better team the whole game. They were maybe even for less than half the game were they the better team, Jay. But you know what? The hockey gods kind of smiled on them, and their shooting percentage got a little higher, and their PDO probably is better. Not that I would know how to calculate that, but they got one back, right? And that's the way it goes. You're going to get a couple back eventually. Hey, if you don't play good, you can't rely on luck. But they had a little luck coming, didn't they?
A little bit, yeah. PDO is pretty simple. It's just combined save percentage on ice and on ice shooting percentage, both of them at once. And I don't really think it's that difficult. It's only for 5-on-5 though, so it's one element of the game. And and you could ask the Oilers last year, Canucks this year, hey, special teams matters. And when your special teams is good, like we saw on Monday for the Oilers 2 power play goals, it makes a huge difference. Stuart Skinner, it's funny when you do, when you're not faced with a barrage of rush chances, and your goalie gets some confidence and makes a save early, now all of a sudden you're in the game. And that's 3 consecutive games now, 3 wins for Stuart Skinner. I think his save percentage is .965 in those 3 games. He looks a lot more comfortable right now.
Yeah, and giving you sometimes the goalie stands on his head and steals the game for you, and that's awesome. But there again, that's if you're waiting around and counting on that, you're not going to get enough of those that you can make the playoffs based on one great goalie. More often you get a goalie that makes all the saves he's supposed to make, and then at a timely moment snags that glove save that he made last night with about however many minutes left, right? 4 minutes left or something. That puck goes in, it's game over, So that's what he's giving you. He's giving you all the saves, the goals that are going in, we're not looking at them going, oh man, how did that get in? They're generally well-earned good goals. And then he steals a couple, and, you can outscore that performance. You can't outscore the performances we were getting earlier in the year where they were scoring on the ones that were supposed to go in, and they were scoring on 1 or 2 that weren't supposed to go in. You can't outscore that. But they could outscore last night. He gave a chance, and the team grabbed that chance, and what the heck, turned it into 2 points.
Yeah, it was big. Mark Spector joins us from Rogers Sportsnet. It was interesting last night, and I really have, what I've liked about Knobloch so far, Spec, is he's willing to explain why he made a move. Right now, it's early; it's only a few games, but he talked about, okay, this is why I switched. He didn't plan on switching the lines, but McDavid, Hyman, and Draisaitl became a line due to special teams, and so he got him out as a trio, which will happen after face-off or after penalty kills or power plays. I get it, and they scored. So then he's like, oh, geez, now we got some life, and he's stuck with it. The problem was it didn't work because the Oilers got outscored 3-1. Now, it wasn't like that line got beat up on or anything like that, but to me, it'll be interesting to see if the next game, because there will be times and shifts where 97 and 29 play together, no question. I think he'd be a dumb coach not to do it here or there, out of timeouts or certain things like that, final minute of an offensive zone face-off or such. But if they score the next time, I don't think he'll keep them together.
Well, listen, it's our young friend Tyler Yaremchuk had a tweet last night when they changed the lines up, and he said, hey, 4.5 periods in, he changed lines. What do you think? And I tweeted him back. I said, he's coaching a hockey team. Like, that's what coaches do, not specific to 97 and 29. It's up to coaches to read the room and look at their lines and say, man, This combination, we're halfway through the game and not much going on here. So what does a coach do if he just sits? I mean, sometimes it's time to hold your cards and stick with your hand. I get it. But other times it's not. And I'll tell you what, in the end, we ask Jay Woodcroft about this. We judge coaches in hindsight. We're judging Chris Knobloch's performance last night on whether they won or not. And they won, and his work with the lines contributed to them winning. And listen, you got to change the lines around in mid-game. Hell, Daryl Sutter gave it about 8 minutes, and he started shuffling his deck. So this guy's got a lot more patience than that.
Yeah, no, it's true. You can't just sit there and say roll lines all the time. I think he'll go back to, but I do have a question for you. Connor Brown is close to returning. I think he's going to play on Saturday. So where do you put Brown in the lineup?
Well, where do I put him? I mean, I work him in my bottom six. Let's start there. Okay. He doesn't jump in my top six. Jumps into my bottom six. So, what do I like? Do I like him? I know they've got Derek Ryan on that third line. And to me, and I don't take this as an insult, but Derek Ryan is a classic fourth line player for me. The things he brings to the table are fourth line things. He's a good player. I like him on my fourth line, but he's a fourth line player. So I guess my answer to you is with Holloway not there anymore, I go Fogle left wing, McLeod in the middle, and Brown on the right wing, and that's how I play my third line. How about you?
That's a fair point. I think eventually he's in your top six. I don't see Sam Gagner as a top six forward long term for your team. So, and I don't see
eventually, but not right away. Yeah, eventually,
maybe not the first game, but you know what? Brown, prior to tweaking his groin, those last 5 games he played really well. And it's unfortunate for him. I know everybody looks his next game is going to be the bonus, and people, but don't take it out on Brown about his bonus. And I get that next year it might be, but you know what? You can't worry about next year all the time. You got to be aware of it. But the fact of the matter is they're not sending him to the minors and just throwing away Connor Brown after 9 games. Like that to me is a knee-jerk reaction, because I still think Connor Brown's a better winger than a lot of the other guys in your NHL roster when he's going. And he didn't score, but if you look at all the numbers, he was actually, and then if you go the eye test, I thought Connor Brown's last 5 games, he played quite well. So good news is he didn't re-aggravate his knee. This was a groin issue, right? He kind of tweaked his groin, thought maybe there was some compensation, everything going on, body movement, blah, blah, blah. So I would play him on the third, but that's the one guy spec that I don't think it's going to take me very long for him to be on McDavid's right wing.
No, I think you're right. And I mean, let's revisit that, right? Everybody sort of panics. People panic, and I get fans, they panic. Their team's 2-9-1. As a sports writer, I was, kind of panicking too, right? It wasn't supposed to go like that. But think back on Connor Brown. The guy's coming off an ACL. The good news was the ACL was like 12 months ago, not 4 months ago. So we knew it was going to take time. Everybody who's been around sports knows a guy needs time to get it all together when you come back off a serious injury. That 10-game thing, to me, they acquired Connor Brown for the second half of the season. If he's Connor Brown, the guy that we're talking about, if he's the player we want for the last 40 games, I don't care about the first 40 games. We weren't supposed to be caring so much about these games because the Oilers were supposed to be winning at a 650 pace and right at the top of their division, and life was supposed to be easy here. Now all of a sudden they're losing and we're panicking on Connor Brown. Connor Brown's just being the guy they signed. And I'm here to tell you, and I think you'd agree, Jay, if he plays and he stays healthy, he's going to be a real good player in the last half of the season in the playoffs. That's what they signed him for. Don't panic on this guy. Let it play out.
Mark Spector joins us from Rogers Sports. I would agree that they can't panic on him. And, last night I think was a prime example of, the good of Evan Bouchard and the frustration of Evan Bouchard. The good is when he has the puck on his stick, his offensive zone plays were very good. He probably should have had another assist right after the Kane assist where he put a great shot pass right on Nugent Hopkins' stick, and he just deflected it wide of the wide open net. Would have tied the game then. But, Evan Bouchard has been really good with the puck this year. It's just I think people just have to get their head around Evan Bouchard is never going to be the stalwart defensive crusher. It's not. It's just a matter of can he get back to playing the way he did in the postseason. I thought in the playoffs last year, Evan Bouchard was fine for what he is. I don't expect him to be Shea Weber. I don't expect him to be Matthias Ekholm defensively, right?
Right. Oh, totally, man, totally. But I think I think he set himself a standard though last year down the stretch and in the playoffs of very capable defensive play. You know, he's going to defend you more. First of all, don't forget he's a big kid, right? Like, is he 6'2"? He's got good size. Like, he has the ability to take control of his crease. He's not an overtly physical player, and I get all that, and I don't expect him to. So he needs to survive on the back end and thrive on the front end. And last night was a great example. Like, his offense is the reason Edmonton got back in that game and won the game. But you still say, remember, son, you're still a defenseman, and the time comes when you're in your zone, and you got to, you know, he's got to show us that level he showed us last year, where he's a little more responsible. He clears his front of his net. Guys aren't deflecting pucks right in front of him. That kills me watching that. He'll get there. I'm telling you, he's done it before. He'll get there. It's frustrating to watch him get there, Jay, but I think he'll get there. And as you point out, his offensive work is so good that he only has to be so good on the back end, and we're all going to love this player, right?
Yeah. No, it's fair. Stu Skinner, 3 wins in a row now. Spec, are you still saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to run him all 4 if he plays well?
I am. I mean, unless I see signs of him getting tired, it's hard to predict something like this is a 9-day road trip. Don't ask me to predict who's starting 9 days from now. But if I see a goalie that's not getting tired, that's making his saves, that's holding them to, 2.5 a night, I don't see any reason why we should look at a very young goaltender who doesn't have a lot of miles on him and say, oh, he can't play 4 in a row. I hope he can play 4 in a row, because that would be a sign of maturation. He struggled in the playoffs last year playing. What did he play? Did they not play 12 playoff games, Jay?
Yep.
And he started every one, and I think we'd all agree his game kind of was on a steady sort of a downhill thing. I thought he was tired, and they should have given Campbell a start along the way.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's see what happens here. I'm not, like I say, I'm not telling you who to start in Washington. There's 3 games before that, but I'm starting him in Tampa, and if I like his game, I'm starting him in Florida, and let's take it from there, man. He's a young guy. He can play some hockey.
You look at this Tampa Bay, and one last one before we let go. Matt Tompkins, a really cool former Sherwood Park Crusader, grinded it out. Actually was in Europe last year, and now got into the NHL. I wonder if we see Tompkins on Saturday, if John Cooper maybe goes with the kid to play against his kind of childhood team.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to your question, but here's what I do know. John Cooper is really, really in tune with things like that. He's a people person. He's a player coach. He knows when guys are playing against the team they grew up cheering for. He knows when the parents are in the stands, all those sorts of things. He's the kind of guy that would consider that. I like him a lot. And I mean, who doesn't like John Cooper as a coach? Holy cow, his record's pretty good. So let's hope, right? Let's hope. It'd be fun to see a Sherwood Park Crusader in that that hockey game Saturday afternoon, man. In fact, if I get a chance to see him, there won't be a morning skate, so I probably won't. But if I do, I'll go shake his hand on behalf of Sports 1440 and tell him, welcome to the league.
Well, he's coming on the show tomorrow, actually. So we look forward to having. Yeah, we'll have him on the show tomorrow. So I think it's a pretty cool story, man. He's got a lot of buddies, probably a lot of people that saw him, and I don't care who you are. It's always exciting to see someone fulfill their dream, especially when someone grinds it out a little bit longer than most.
Oh man, are you kidding? And you know what? Like, I think I preface this by saying I'm not trying to take a bunch of credit or sound smart. But I think we learned something the other day when I asked that a rather innocuous question to Chris Knobloch. I said, who's helped you get here? Who's the people that helped you along the way? And oh my God, he got choked up. He was so emotional. And
yes.
You know what? Every guy in the league can answer that question. That's why I ask it. I've asked it many times, and guys love that question generally because it gives them a chance to think back of all the people that helped you. Mom and dad drove me to the rink, and my coach and my teammate, and oh my God, this trainer, and like everyone has all those guys, and Tompkins got them too, and Noah Gregor has them too. I guarantee you that people that he wouldn't be there without. So it's cool. It's a cool part of the game. And that's why I asked the question, right? Because I love to find out from each guy who are the people that helped get him there.
For sure. Spec, fly safe. Thanks for this. We will chat with you tomorrow.
All right, brother. Looking forward to it.
There you go. That was Mark Spector. We pre-taped that prior to the show. Not that it's still very timely because the orders were flying, so not much had changed. When we return, big games coming up. Who doesn't like big games? There's always some big games, especially when it involves the red and white of Canada. We'll discuss it next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
When you call CBS,
Hello, Corporate Business Solutions.
you'll speak with a real live person located right here in Edmonton. No 1-800 number, no call centers, no waiting on hold forever. Just trained, experienced, and local service technicians. CBS is Western Canada's largest Konica Minolta factory authorized dealer of multifunction office equipment, printers, software solutions, and mailing machines. Corporate Business Solutions, local service, local support, local always. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
One call does it all. Action Electrical is proud to celebrate 50 years of providing complete electrical services and a full circle of care, including projects, service, TAG, and energy. From humble beginnings in a small Sherwood Park basement to a family-run business, the Action Electrical stamp can be found on some of the most iconic schools, office buildings, and warehouses across Canada. From conception to completion and beyond, contact
The professionals
at actionelectrical.net today.
When you hand deliver a hamper to a family in need, everyone's heart fills with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper Program, a charitable experience unlike anything in Edmonton. Sign up to adopt a local family, fill a hamper with food and gifts, then bring it to their door and see the difference you're making firsthand. With the rising cost of living impacting so many families, the need has never been greater. Sign up for the Holiday Hamper Program today at holidayhamper.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Looking to tackle your backyard projects with power and precision this fall? Look no further than Kubota compact tractors. Experience the perfect blend of compact size and unbeatable value with Kubota. Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 0% for up to 84 months and save up to $1,500 on select models. Plus, as the temperature drops, get ready for Alberta winters with confidence with Kubota Performance Match snowblowers, sweeper, and blades. Visit Edmonton Kubota today for details.
At Toyota, we build quality vehicles with you in mind. I mean, it's not like we're always thinking about you. We're not obsessed or anything. We just know you value your 9 to 5 as much as your 5 to 9. And with the reliable RAV4 always ready to roll, you're capable of making the most of both. It's time to make every moment count. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2024 RAV4 LE all-wheel drive from $95 weekly for 64 months at 7.29% APR with $3,499 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today. FYI, still thinking about you.
Alberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're having an awesome day. As you make your way home, please turn your lights on. Just put it to that auto, okay? And then your lights will always be on, more so your rear lights, and then everybody can see it because, of course, it's, 5:30 and it's dark out already. The wonders of living in Alberta in November. But that's all right. There's lots we like. The ODR will open up soon. Sick. Get lots more skiing, sledding in. Let's do it. Need a little snow. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I want the snow. Let's bring it on. Bring it on. Also, I'll bring on a little footy talk now as we go to the footy report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 full year. Stay warm all winter. Don't wait. LegacyHeating.ca. From One Soccer, Gareth Wheeler joins us once again. Gareth, welcome back to the show, my man. Appreciate it. It's coming up at a big time again. You know, it's kind of interesting. The national men's soccer team, obviously, it's a little bit of state of flux. We don't know really what's going on, anything like that. I think it'd be safe to say there's a little dysfunction right now at the national level, but that doesn't mean the game stopped playing. And they got a big game tomorrow in the Copa Americas. So I guess let's start with the game, and then I want to get your thoughts on kind of an overview of the program right now.
Yeah, first of all, it's great to be on. The new Jason Gregor Show never looked so good. And I think it's timely me joining you today, as it was literally 2 years ago today at the Azteca in your wonderful city of Edmonton, Canada 2, Mexico 1. Like a legendary night in Canadian soccer, honestly, and one of my favorite experiences that I've actually covered. I think it was that night that dude with like no shirt in his gitch, like, got tackled into the boards as well. Like, so many good memories, and, you know, pictures that will last a lifetime, right? It's going to be a little bit different as Canada's playing Jamaica tomorrow night in the first of two, but a tropical storm is en route to Kingston, Jamaica. So maybe we could call it the Wet Teca or something like that, because they're expecting about 100 millimeters of rain over the next 24 hours. So the conditions won't be great, but you're right. Big games, the first of two to qualify for this new Copa America competition that's going to be going on next summer in the United States, and a chance to play against the likes of Lionel Messi in Argentina, Brazil, and the best teams in South America. So the stakes are very high, and I think you're absolutely right in saying it, for a program that is in absolute flux right now.
Now, let's go there. Like, how difficult is this game tomorrow when you consider kind of, you know, like, who's running the show?
The players, it's a good question. With John Herdman stepping away a few months ago, Mauro Biello, an experienced guy, really good guy as well in Canadian soccer. He's taken the reins, but everything right now in terms of Canada soccer is temporary. The entire leadership team, even members of the board of directors, have come and gone. From 2 years ago, it's a completely different C-suite of senior executives within Canada soccer. They've virtually all left. And so new people are still coming in, including the general secretary, who's kind of the individual that reports into the board and oversees kind of the business operations and kind of the direction of Canada soccer as well. The board of directors are in the process of hiring who that is. And then after the general secretary is hired, they will then go on and hire a new head coach of the program. So in the meantime, Biello is part of Herdman's staff. There's familiarity there. He wants to change things in certain ways, but really this comes down to the players. Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Stephen Eustachio, Tejan Buchanan, like these players that did so well to qualify for the World Cup. It's kind of on them right now to show what they can do collectively as a unit, as Canada soccer waits to see what this next step looks like.
Yeah. So when do you feel like, regardless of the games, and we'll get back to the game in a second, but how much urgency is there, you know, to get a coach full-time in place? And is that even possible? Like, would any coach even take this job full-time knowing all the uncertainty?
I think it's a great job, to tell you the truth. It's very rare when a country gets the privilege to host a World Cup. And so you're going to be managing, you know, a first world country, a great country who arguably hasn't reached its potential yet, with some very good players. and all the stories about the finances when it comes, Canada Soccer is going to be able to afford and bring in a top manager if they elect to do so. It's just, what do you want out of that individual? And I kind of say swing big, try to bring in the biggest manager possible to oversee this program over the next 2 years. After the World Cup in 2026, you can go in a different direction, maybe someone with an eye for the developmental side of things, but you want the biggest and best and most proven name to help pragmatically take this team through the next 2 years and potentially some big games in the process, bring some cachet back to this programming and get it back on track. Some underreported stories, Canada took advantage of this $5 million that was offered to everyone, every FIFA federation, basically, tax-free or what's the best way, interest-free money that they're just kind of sitting on right now, figuring out how it works best. There's money there to be had. The problem was before under John Herdman, the Canadian Soccer Association had very much a spending problem, not just in terms of what they bring in, but very much a spending problem. So that's had to be reined in. But I think if you're going to spend on something, it's going to be getting the right manager. So look, we'll see what kind of big names come around in January, who they hire to kind of oversee this program, and whether some trains of thought aligned here. But I really think that it's an opportunity to bring in the best and the brightest, at least over the course of the short term.
Gareth Wheeler joins us on Sports 1440. So now let's get to the matchup versus Jamaica. What kind of lineup is Canada gonna field tomorrow, and how big of a factor is the lineup in a game like this going to be?
Should be strong. Davies is there. I mean, he's the catalyst. It's like where he plays is more of a conversation rather than if he plays. Is he a defender? Is he an attacker? And kind of figuring out how the team works around him. So this is going to be just about as strong of a Canadian side that we've seen in some time. They played in the Gold Cup in July. It was kind of like a second team. Then they've only played one game since, one friendly against Japan, which aired at about 4:30 a.m. local time in Edmonton. I mean, it's been a forgettable and disappointing 4 or 5 months, if we're going to be honest, around this program. So we'll see what they look like all coming back together. Biello named a team that's very similar to the team that played in Edmonton 2 years ago, and he's going to lean into that experience. And I think there's merit in it. Like, I don't care what sport you follow. Everyone wants to know what the new players look like with the next generation and how things get better. In a 2-game situation like this, I just think you need to go with tried, tested, and true, and that's what they've gone with here.
Where do you think he's best? Like, to me, I don't want Alphonso Davies playing on the back end for me.
Yeah. I've completely flip-flopped on this a number of times, but I'm convinced that he's better, just like you, Jason. He's better playing in attack. And I think that's where he wants to play for the national team.
Yes.
And if you have excellent players like that, I think you need to take advantage of their attacking prowess and the speed and what he brings to the table. So I'm with you on that.
Because to me, I think when you put him on defense, you're essentially sending the message to your team that we're going to try to win by defense first. And the reality is soccer is just like all sports. They're getting more offensive. NFL's got more offense. NHL's offense has come back up. And look, a lot of the games in soccer, man, there's more goals now. Like, I don't think Canada's good enough to defend that tight all game and win 1-0. Right? I don't believe they are.
I think you're right. And listen, with Bayern Munich, he's playing with like world-class center backs, like players that when he goes forward, he's very attack-minded. They can cover that ground. That's not the way that it works with this Canadian men's national team. I prefer to play like an Atakubi or another player behind him that provides stability and allow Davies to do what he does best, get out in transition and attack.
Yeah, and Canada's actually, I think their best asset. I think they've got some good young forwards now. We've probably got the most talented group of scorers that we've ever had as a national program, without question. So play to your strength. And so that, to me, was my one concern about him. Like, oh my goodness, they're going to put him and play him on defense. Like, number one, it's not what your best player wants. I'm not saying you let the players run everything, but certain players are different. And to me, like, if I'm him, I'm like, I think I'm better. I think I can help our team more if I'm playing attacking. So I hope.
And I think that this team plays its best when it's pressing, it's being aggressive defensively, not giving time and space, not kind of, parking the bus or playing very defensive. They want to get out and create turnovers and play in transition. And Alphonso Davies is one of the best players in the world when playing that way. So play to your strengths. We'll see. Biello's kind of changes too. And he said initially when he came in that Alphonso Davies is a defender, but I think he's more of that left-sided player that can play a little bit forward. And if you need to at times, he can slide back and play. But I'm with you. I prefer him playing in attack.
Yeah, 100%. Now, before I let you go, you're part of this cool promotion for any fans who are huge, soccer fans, footy fans for all of our European listeners who maybe want to go to Old Trafford to watch Manchester United. Tell me how can any of our listeners get involved in that?
I'm a huge Manchester United supporter, first and foremost. Like, they're my first love. Like, my wife understands that as well. It's the way to be the legend contest. And it's for the first time through Casalero del Diablo, a winemaker, great winemaker. They have a global partnership with Manchester United. And for the first time, they've opened up this contest for Canadians. So all you have to do is go to CasalerOManchester.com for your chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime experience, a VIP match day experience at the iconic Old Trafford. It's an amazing place. VIP match day, you get the kit, all your travel, Manchester United themed activities throughout, a prize pack worth almost $11,000. So CasalerOManchester.com is where you apply it. You can hopefully you go out and win it, and you can take part in that incredible once-in-a-lifetime experience.
All right, cool. Maybe we'll get you to tweet it out to Connor, and then we'll retweet it for any of our listeners in case they can't spell it, because I don't think I could spell that off the top of my head either. So that's cool. It'll be much easier. So, Garrett, quickly, for fun, what's your expectations? What do you see happening on the pitch tomorrow night?
Well, we'll see. Canada haven't won in 35 years in Jamaica since 1988.
What?
Wow. So it's been a long time. Yeah, it's wild. It's been very difficult traveling in CONCACAF. The weather, the climate, the pitch conditions, all that comes along with it. The good news is Canada hasn't lost at BMO Field in Toronto for the return leg since 2010. They're on an incredible stretch there. So I think when you go down to Jamaica, you play not to lose and then take advantage of that home field advantage back up here on Tuesday night. So don't lose in Jamaica. It's going to be a tough one. But with the weather, honestly, Jason, it's something to follow. It's like a Category 2 tropical storm that's hitting them right now. And if the field's like wet and it might be a little bit of a scrap, like a schoolyard fight. We might not be much football, but it'll be entertaining nonetheless.
Awesome. Gareth, thanks so much, man. Good speaking to you again. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, congrats on this. Looking great, sounding great as usual. Thanks for having me on, guys.
We appreciate it. Keep Andy in line for us, too. I know it's hard.
Yeah,
so,
we try our best. We try.
It's difficult. Very high maintenance. Very high maintenance. Awesome. Thanks, Gareth. That is Gareth Wheeler from One Sock. How about that? Canada hasn't won in Jamaica since 1988. Well, hey, drought's got in sometime. Tomorrow will be a good time to do it. 5:43, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. We got lots of texts to get to. 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. We'll return with more as you're listening to the Jason Gregor Show, coming to you live from the E-Well studio, EWEL. Let's see. You want all your electrical needs? They cover it all, and they can even help make your projects look better. ewell.ca.
No project too difficult. No problem too complex for Action Electrical. Edmonton's leading electrical contractor is a family-run business since 1973 and proud to offer complete commercial electrical services of the highest quality. When you need a contractor to design, build, implement, and maintain complex systems or emergency electrical assistance, help is here with the professionals. Book a service call at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
It's simply the best time to buy. The Black Friday event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. You'll save up to a game-changing $7,500 off your purchase or finance as low as 1.49%. Choose from a winning selection of 2023 cars and SUVs like the sleek S60 or the roomy and comfortable XC60s and 90s. Black Friday is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
When you think local, think corporate business solutions. Local service, local support, local always. CBS is the largest Konica Minolta office equipment dealer in Western Canada with a full line of multifunction office devices, printers, mail machines, and software solutions. When you call CBS, you'll speak with a live person located right here in Edmonton, and most issues can be resolved over the phone within 20 minutes or less. Call Corporate Business Solutions today, 780-490-5600, or visit cbsca.com.
What's better than getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee? Getting a delicious McMuffin and a medium premium roast coffee for only $4 plus tax. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast for less. What's better than that? For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Did you strike out on booking Network Travel's 2023 baseball trip to see the Jays play by the Bay in Seattle? Well, registration is now open for the 2024 trip next season. Want to fly in for the Sunday, July 7th game and return the same day? Or do you want to fly in Saturday morning and catch both games that weekend with an overnight stay? Either way, it won't be long before Network Travel has a full count for both options. So book today at networktravel.ca.
What does 3 decades of perfecting your craft look like? Ask the guys at Leduc Goldsmiths, locally run and bringing you nothing but quality work and service. Built from the ground up through family, from generation to generation. Uncle to nephew, father to son. The pride in their family jewelry store is the pride you take home, bringing you custom and repair work. But it's their face-to-face service that keeps you coming back. Leduc Goldsmiths on Main Street, Leduc. Leduc's jewelry store, family owned and operated for over 30 years.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cblhomes.com.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy. With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
.47, Gregor Halley with you. Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, and for fun on the show every day with PlayAlberta.ca, we do a wager. In September was all right. We ended up in the positive, so we were able to donate some money to charity, which is nice. October, no, that wasn't great. November has started out all right. We have had a few good ones hit. So tonight they were like, oh, let's look at the Vegas Golden Knights. They lost last game. Geez, they're going to bounce back against Montreal, aren't they? Nope. They're trailing. They outshoot them 16-5, and they're losing 2-0. Hey, it happens. I got to look at the goals to see how the goals were. I haven't seen them. I'm just seeing the highlights, but it's awesome. So, hey, not a great start, but we'll see if they can bounce back. We'll find out. Other scores, of course, Red Wings lost to Ottawa in overtime 5-4 in Sweden. No score, Columbus and Arizona after 20 minutes. And the Penguins and the Devils also tied at 1 through 20 minutes. Games that, if you're already looking at the standings, Canucks and Flames going at it tonight. The Islanders are in Seattle. That's a tough back-to-back for the Kraken. And Florida is in L.A. for the late game. And, well, also St. Louis, I guess that does matter. St. Louis 8-5-1 currently as a wild card team. So got to look for them as well. taking on the Sharks, who, as we found out last Thursday, are not the guaranteed free space on the bingo card. And they can really screw your hair line up for quite some time. As the we like to call, we've come up with a moniker for it, the Ring of Confidence. It's growing. I don't love it, but it's growing. So it's not bad now. You can, as if you're watching online, if you turn sideways, you can see the sprouts a little bit on the sides. But the top looks great as ever. But it's when the sides and the back really start to become plush. That's when it's not going to be great at all. Got a lot of text to get to. 833-401-1440. Hey guys, I was disappointed to hear the backpedaling to media with Bouchard. He made 2, if not 3, glaring lazy plays that directly resulted in goals. It isn't going to have to be a shutdown, guy. It's a basic, simple play. Don't be lazy, period. Yeah, he's going to be scoring out there, but he's got to play with some urgency. In May, when this same play happens, are you and Spec going to be laughing and saying he got us 13 points in the playoffs? Stop with the baby hands on Bouchard. He needs to play with the urgency, or what is the point of having him out there? From CB Radio Guy. Well, first of all, there's no backtracking on Bouchard. So Bouchard, for the second goal, I'm not sure which 3 goals you're talking about. He was only on the ice for 2, and one was Ekholm's issue. So the 1 second goal, that one is on Bouchard. I would agree with you. Other plays that you don't like that don't result in goals, I can't rip on that more than a guy who makes 3 good plays that lead directly to goals. You can't do it. To me, that's bad analysis. It's being blinded by what I'm only focusing more on what I don't like rather than the plays that were made that are good. And so to me, I try to, when I analyze a player, and trust me, I've ripped on Bouchard lots this year. I have no problem doing it when it's warranted. But last night, his good outweighed the bad. I agree with you that if the bad happens in the playoffs, it's not going to be good. But that's why I said, hey, Evan Bouchard, I don't ever expect him to be a lockdown guy. I said, play like he did in the playoffs. I thought I said that. But today wasn't a day to rally on and rip on Bouchard negatively, because Bouchard was a catalyst to them coming back. Right? He was a big catalyst for it. And so while he made some plays that didn't result in goals against, he made 3 direct plays that resulted in goals for. That has to outweigh it. You can't be like, well, I hate Bouchard, so every time he makes a play, well, now I'm going to hate him even more. Yeah, but if he makes good plays, that doesn't matter. Now you can do it as a fan, but I can't do that as an analyst. I don't think it's fair to the player. You can't just, well, he made a bad play, so that counts 10 times. He made a good play, well, that one only counts 1 time. No, it doesn't work that way. So last night, Bouchard, the good outweighed the bad. We all know what the bad is. It's frustrating. I would agree wholeheartedly with that. But last night, Bouchard's positive plays in key moments that led directly to wins were more for last night. They were, right? His assists on goals, like, major part of it. So that matters more to me last night. The other thing is Bouchard can't play like you want in May and June every night in the regular season. It's not going to happen. Right? It's impossible to play at the same playoff intensity. Last year, I was impressed by his playoff intensity, so I hope he can show it again. But I would like to see a gradual build where there's fewer games where Bouchard has the head-scratching plays. There'll always be some, because that's just who he is as a player. I've kind of come to that, so I can't freak out every time. But the one thing you're seeing is, man, when he makes good plays, he can be a difference maker. So hopefully he makes more of those, and you just hope that the bad ones are minimal for him. On behalf of Connor, all of our guests today, Terry Ryan. If you missed any of the show, go to jasongregor.com. All the individual interviews are there. You can get the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, you name it. It's there. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by BIE Engineering, specializing in all your residential, commercial, and industrial structural engineering needs. Go to BIEENG.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Busy night in the NHL. 3 games on the ice right now, all of which are at the first intermission. Canadians lead the Golden Knights 2-0. Devils and Pens tied at 1 apiece, and it's scoreless between the Blue Jackets and the Coyotes. Still to come tonight, the Lightning in Chicago. Flames host the Canucks. Islanders taking on the Kraken. The Kings welcome the Panthers to Los Angeles, and the Blues in San Jose. Earlier today at the NHL Global Series, the Sens knocked off the Red Wings 5-4 in overtime. Tomorrow, the Global Series continues with the Red Wings taking on the Maple Leafs at the Avicii Arena in Stockholm, Sweden. Week 11 in the NFL kicks off tonight as the Ravens host the Bengals in about 20 minutes' time. You can join our very own Brandon Douglas at the St. Albert South Canadian Brew House for your chance to win a trip for two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. In the association right now, Nets have a 13-7 lead over the Heat in the first quarter. Later tonight, the Warriors will take on the Thunder in the AJ Drumheller in Camrose, and Whitecourt hosting Fort Mac. Both those games starting at 7. CFL awards today. Edge rusher Matthew Betts won the most outstanding defensive player for the BC Lions, and your coach of the year, Argos head coach Ryan Dinwiddie. And for the second time in 3 years, Shohei Ohtani is the American League's MVP, becoming the first player to win the award unanimously twice. That'll do it for us here on The Gregor Show. We're back with Fox Sports tonight at 9, and then the Kevin Carrier Show tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Excavators